use a little bit of smoked paprika, and it makes it taste real good. I also have it with some broccoli and some carrots and peas and a nice serving of white rice.
What a wholesome way to start the session.
I might try it with some turmeric next time because I've heard turmeric goes really well in rice.
If you do turmeric and cumin. The first thing I drank today was a glass of milk for a short film that I made, but it was a glass of milk with Frank's buffalo sauce, chili flakes, hot chili powder, and a drop of the bomb in a glass.
What? And I cannot stress this enough, the fuck is wrong with you?
It was for art.
God may forgive you, but I won't.
What art requires contaminating milk?
Yeah, it was the worst thing I'd ever drank.
I wonder why.
Have we started?
I'm just sad
Getting
now.
it right.
Nice opening for you.
That's just made me sad. That's fucking hurt me on a spiritual
Getting a
level.
drink, Craig. Jeez, let me have a moment.
I didn't know if the recording had
What a
started
big
yet or not. I didn't know.
It
When
had.
When I finish the film, I'll send you the footage. It is not nice.
I don't really want to know.
can't-
if
Did
it's
you
that.
did you look like you had to enjoy it?
I had to stare down the barrel of the camera and just like Kubrick stare as I chugged the entire glass.
How were you afterwards?
Oh, I was awful.
Like emotionally.
I was already hungover, and that didn't help at all.
You know,
Nice.
I really think Stanley Kubrick was a mistake sometimes.
Yes, yeah, I welcome you all back to Twisted Fates, and I am very sorry for all the weird cuts that will probably have to occur during the start of this session. So I'm apologising for that in advance, as I am very hurt right now, and also your Dungeon Master. And as always, these are my boys, though I'm starting to regret having some of them here. Is we have Craig,
Hello.
Ewan,
Hello.
Matthew,
Hey.
and Paul,
Hello.
who you'll notice by our layout is actually playing a new character. He's playing Rodrik Armstrong, because jumping into what happened last time, well, Marcusar died. Again. And it was Ewan's fault. Again. Well, actually it was only half his fault this time. He gave you 2 fails, and then you got 2 successes, and then you rolled with advantage and got a 9 and a nat 1.
I've stopped feeling bad now.
Is it just funny now?
I've reached acceptance.
To be fair, it was like that the last time as
stages
well.
of grief within this week.
Like, it was like the same last time as well. Like, he was pretty shook about it during the session, and then the next session came around and he was like, I'm fine now. It's kind of funny, actually. But yeah, it kind of saw the boys defeat the monster of Westcross, this very contorted wolf-like creature that seemed to be causing the town some bother. They were able to kill it, but they lost Marcusar in the process. Additionally, Wulfric had a little bit of a class change.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
Given the situation and given the kind of hardship he has faced now twice whilst on this journey, he felt it would be appropriate for him to take up a new vocation. So Wulfric made a promise to the divine Liara, the goddess of light and innocence, as well as a representation of true love, and he has now taken an oath of redemption, which will be very interesting to see him try and fulfill. He did get a really cool axe out of it, now carrying Ariane, Liara's champion's weapon. A weapon that has some pretty cool bonuses to it, but has some also pretty hefty conditions to it, especially if you start messing up on your oath. He currently fails on a 1 and 2. They are both considered to be critical fails for Ewan from now on. And if you start messing up your oath at all, that number might start increasing. But the
Oh, good for you, Ewan.
The kind of trade-off for that is it does now mean that for positive interactions and for all of his paladin stuff, Wulfric now has an 18 for his charisma, and all of his damage is now considered to be radiant, including his superiority die. So there are some hefty benefits to it, but because it is a champion's weapon and because it is a god's weapon, it has some pretty big drawbacks too. But that wasn't really the only thing that happened last session, as obviously Ewan got some new gear and got a new oath. We obviously introduced Rodrik, but we also had a little bit of RP, I guess, between Eidolon and Ranaagash. Just before the party left Westcross, as Eidolon had to help Ran out of some manacles, or the remains of some manacles. And
I could have stabbed him. I failed to.
You failed to stab him. You didn't even like give him a little stab just as a to compensate for it.
Cheeky wee stab.
But Eidolon got a gift left for him at the inn, a scarf from the girl he met in Summerhost, the farm girl Emmy, or the potter Emmy, who he broke loads of pots of. Seems like their relationship is moving in the right direction for all those who want to ship him with her.
Listen, all you need to get free accessories apparently is just break someone's property.
Please don't anybody take that advice.
Yeah, I feel like we shouldn't really endorse that.
I'd recommend it.
Twisted Face is not responsible for any plots broken as a result of Craig's bad advice.
On Ranaagash's side, he had another one of his visions, again being taken into the supposed past life of the elf Geirdra that seems to be kind of following him around a little bit, an elf that's tied quite heavily to Eidolon. And he found out some very interesting information about Eidolon's past, mostly pertaining to Eidolon's wife and the fact that she was pregnant. I think he's still waiting on the turning point for Geirdra to see what actually happened to make, obviously, one of the first visions Ran had come true, what actually led up to that moment.
Waiting for his fucking Joker moment.
It's not actually wrong, Ewan's statement there.
We've got all the pieces of the story, at least at the moment, putting them all together. We just don't know what happened to turn him from being Eidolon's best friend, being a close family friend, being the eventual godfather of Eidolon's child. We don't really know what turned him from that. We don't actually know what happened to the kid either. We've not seen that, if at all. But the boys left West Cross. They joined with Azamir, who had hired Rodrik, Paul's character, or should I say barbarian, to give the boys a hint at what Rodrik actually is. I won't tell you what his subclass is, but he is a barbarian.
Base.
And
is he angry or is he just extra angry?
I mean, they're really the only two flavors of barbarian, aren't they?
We'll find out.
As they left West Cross, kind of starting to make their trip to Kinreen, under the employ, officially this time, of Azamir, getting 5 gold a day, which is not too hefty of a wage, at least on this journey, as you guys, I guess, will have a little bit of time on the road. Not kind of before your first night, so to speak, but kind of that, I guess, afternoon into evening where you will obviously be travelling, where Eidolon, Wulfric and Rodrik, you are going outside of the carriage on your horses with Azamir, obviously heading his carriage, and Ranaagash is in the back. Though this will be like 3 or 4 hours into your journey, so you can obviously switch positions if you want. You can obviously take a break from riding your horses and let them walk alongside. It's kind of up to you what you guys want to, I guess, do whilst there's still daylight kicking around.
Honestly, nothing from me this time. I have nothing in particular, especially if it's still light, so I'm good.
Yeah, Wulfric's probably just focusing on the promise she has made and what that means.
I'd ride alongside Wulfric, though, if just Wulfric wants to say anything, considering he's out on his horse. I know he's gone through a lot, so it's just giving him the chance to talk, even if it's completely unrelated to everything. That leaves the two of you.
My silent boys.
I think Rodrik would ask the party. So how do all you know each other?
Well, we met in Tenon, and she's kind of gone from there.
Mass series of coincidences have just so happened to keep us together at this point.
Any good stories?
We've killed a dragon.
You hate
Very
statues?
Yes, I hate statues.
How
Good
come?
reason. I tend to get hurt by them a lot.
Knocked out.
By statues? They don't move.
Magic statues.
Don't really care for all that magic.
I imagine you would.
Wulfric says from an experience of like the past 10 years, having no magic. Like, damn, I know what that's like.
I don't need magic. All I need is my warhammer.
Does it look more like a warhammer or does it look more like a maul? Just out of curiosity.
It's not a ball, it's a hammer.
Is it not a meat hammer?
Neat hammer.
Giant meat tenderizer, as you would call it.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if it was a hammer with spikes on the end of it or not.
Nah,
It's like it's so traditional hammer shape on like one end. It's like sort of like a spike, and on the other side is like a not completely flat surface. It's like a surface that's like made up of smaller spikes, but not like
It's a bludgeoning maul.
yeah, basically.
Kind of a way to put it. You've essentially, instead of going a bunch of spikes, you just have a bunch of like what's the words like?
You know what?
essentially
You know what
rounded
meat
bits.
tenderizer looks like? It's just like one of them, but
It's
huge.
just one. It's just one of them. Okay.
but it's like
Yes.
really big.
Really big. So what business do you have in Kinreen?
We're heading through there to go to Hofzol and then on to the Gildenfeld. Thornsgard and then on to the Gildenfeld. Hofzol's where I'm from, which is in the Gildenfeld.
A lot of blunt force head trauma. He's getting them confused.
Well, that's where you're going, but why are you going?
Got someone I need to see.
It just so happens to be in the right direction for me.
So you're not all in the same quest together?
I mean, kinda. I mean, yes.
Well, yes, but actually no.
Well, yes, and actually, no. That's a complex question.
We have very different quests, however, we are helping each other with them.
You know, cooperation.
Admirable. Helping out your fellow man.
Well, what's your story, stranger?
He's paying me. Points to Azamir.
Azamir shrugs.
Is that it?
Yep. Not much else to it. I work throughout the plains of Ellerin.
Just because Eidolon's naturally suspicious, I am going to, sorry Paul, throw an insight just against the that's it.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're lying or not, but should I roll anyway?
That's it.
You can do, yeah. See if you can get the simplicity of this guy, or see
I
if
can
your
try to get a
suspicions
gauge.
stick around.
Non-nat 20.
That's it.
Eidolon almost breathes a sigh of relief where she's like, finally someone traveling for a normal fucking purpose. He just wants money.
Eidolon's insight check is, look at that man, there's not a thought behind those eyes.
He experiences a single thought, and it's when his brain cell like collides against the corner of the screen like
the
it's a
fucking
screensaver.
DVD screensaver.
Everyone goes, yes! He made a thought.
Celebration every time he makes a thought, but it's actually just him like making the... It's whenever he asks a question, that's when he can experience the
Yeah, I work these roads for many... Oh, how many years? I've lost count. But, yes, whoever's hiring.
Where are you from in that case?
I don't rightly know.
That's concerning.
Oh, nothing to be concerned about. See, I took a knock to the head a few years ago, and don't remember much before that. I knew my name, thank God. But, yeah,
Right.
woke up, had the armor, had the warhammer, don't know much else, so...
I mean, by the
this is what I
sounds
was
of
meant
it,
to do.
for the past years of your life, that's all you've exactly needed.
Pretty much, I've been doing quite well for myself.
That understandable. Hmm.
Sorry, I'm playing a social recluse. I don't have much to say to new people.
What about you there, the quiet one? Points to Eidolon. What's your story?
I'm traveling, hunting something. About the same as that one. As I just gesture my head back to Ewan.
What's your game?
Nothing of importance. When I'm done, I'm heading back home.
The most dangerous game there is.
The Rasks, I get it.
Definitely. 100%.
A fucking what now?
I don't know. Do Tarasks exist in your world?
Storybook creatures.
They will be, but they will literally be like storybook creatures, big dinosaurs that are like monsters to children, in comparison to like actual tangible creatures.
Instead of the little train that could, it's the little Tarask that could.
This little engine that could, you moron.
Oh, it's an engine. My bad.
You know, the big bloody dinosaur things, I don't know.
Isn't that like a book?
I mean...
Like for children?
Listen, Wulfric, that's exactly what I'm hunting. Thank you. As I turn back to my horse.
And you there, the green one, what are you up to?
Ranaagash has like wind down
Yeah, like
windshield.
lean out of the carriage.
Just winds it back up. Just presses the fucking lock and just looks away.
No talk.
It's got a little like sign he hangs out the window that just like do not interact. he has water and then he has his favorite song playing.
He's not going to overheat, don't worry.
We just get fucking close enough to it and it's just shouties like a melody.
Matthew has to compose himself.
You've thrown me off my rhythm.
Now
he's off his rhythm.
Alright, every session still. We have a quota.
We're running gag besides the twisting fate thing. But yeah, I'll poke my head out the carriage window and just be like, oh, well, trying to prevent something, I suppose is the way to put it.
What are you preventing? Marriage? You're gonna be that one who stands up and rejects.
Here I thought you were mocking me for being single, but no. Let's just say something that we would all benefit from not happening, and leave it at that.
Fair enough. Lean into Wulfric. He's secretive.
Everyone's secretive, and I think...
Not me, I'm an open book. But it's about 3 pages long and it's just the, chapter 1 and the end.
It's just your name written like 20 times on each page.
Yeah.
Did you
You know anything? Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead, Wulfric. It's good. After you, sir.
Oh, I was just gonna say nothing. I mean, they're just the way that they are.
What about this Azamir guy?
I mean, you could just ask me.
Sorry, I wasn't. I thought you weren't paying attention. What business do you have in Kinreen?
I'm a merchant. I'm hoping to sell some, at least of my scraps to the brass or the tulip and brass there. It's a bits and bob shop if you have spent much time there.
I know of it.
They're my main suppliers there, so I hope to trade some goods, pick up some goods, and head back on my way.
You must know these roads pretty well then.
Increasingly.
And that is where our fates will unwind from each other. And we'll go
This is where our tale lies in fair Verona.
Any warranted reason for that? As I turn up and look at Azamir.
I get tired being in one place for too long. I was born and raised in the Citadel, and I can pretty much know the streets like the back of my hand, so I wanted to get out and see the world before it was too late.
I was more bringing attention to the increasingly. You say you don't like to stay in the same place for too long. These roads in specific for any reason?
They're safe, usually.
Clearly not, because you hired us.
I had some issues on my crossing from Tenon. It's why I hired or asked for the assistance of these 3 and another, but he could not join us.
Who's that?
An elf, if I remember rightly, Marcusar, he introduced himself to me as.
He's dead. No more complicated reason than that.
Oh, come on, I was gonna make a fucking joke. And you fucking stole it right from me.
No. Go away.
He's a bit corpsey now.
Listen, we didn't have to like him, but he still died trying to help us fight something. At least give him a sense of respect.
It's what he would have wanted.
Is it really?
Do we really know what he would have wanted? Do we know?
That's why I asked you.
Do we even know what he was out here for?
Well, I did.
The fuck was he looking for?
I don't know if I can rightly recall the name, but he was hunting for an artifact that he was told about. Might have been by his commune, might have been by his father. If I'd had to make a call, I'd probably say the second one.
Makes sense.
Doesn't exactly matter now.
Some way to talk about a friend.
We didn't know him, and to us, death is a reasonably casual occurrence. It's an occupational hazard, as I'm sure it is for you.
Still, you speak ill of the dead.
He does, so I'd point at Wulfric.
I've just met you, so I won't make any judgments. But
I'm not speaking ill of the dead. He just enjoyed his certain comments, and I feel like it's something he would have made had one of us died.
Fair enough.
We'll see how we
Honor
talk
how you
about
live.
you when you're dead, then, Wulfric.
He did also kill an innocent man, but that's besides the point.
Oh, we've all done that, right?
No.
Well, I don't know either.
Wulfric is now staring at Eidolon like, is this guy for fucking real?
Open book, is it?
He's an open book, and the one page that we can't see is just the word murder, 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 murder scrawled in red ink.
Innocence is a matter of perspective.
Wulfric's new oath is very angry.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Nothing.
I mean...
I'm gonna look at Wulfric, and then look back towards the road.
I think Paul's second character is gonna die.
This is deeply concerning.
Nothing to worry yourself about. I was only making light of the situation.
Have you
I'd
heard
like to
of...
admit.
Have you heard of therapy? Because I think you should consider it.
Does therapy exist? I hope it
Technically, yeah.
does. Yes.
I
Is it
let-
called CPR?
Perhaps I should see a shrink. Maybe help me learn my past.
And apparently help you getting over murdering innocents in your pastime.
I never said I did that, you know, I was just making a big old joke. You never heard a joke before?
Well, I mean, we don't really know you, so we don't know what the basis of what is a joke and what is an admission of guilt at this point.
And I don't know this elf fella you're on about. You could have murdered him.
Yeah, but we didn't, and I have witnesses. We only have your word.
You're weak friends.
I also have theirs.
Guess it's a stalemate.
If you murder an innocent, we will kill you.
I won't murder anyone.
Yeah, murder is kind of off the table.
I'm hired protection, I'm not a hired killer.
Yeah, murder's
Though
kind of off the
sometimes they're
table.
one and the same.
I mean,
If they come for me, I'm crushing their little heads in.
We don't have time to unpack all that, so let's just throw away the whole knapsack. But let's keep going.
I like the slight change. That was nice. You know, Wulfric, that doesn't really go with your oath.
Change takes time. And I just met this guy.
Jesus Christ. What's Ranaagash
as we
thinking of
Windows back up, and imagine that he heard some of this.
He's turned up his song.
turned the music.
Just constantly casting prestidigitation.
Yeah, like a melody.
Except in Orcish, but yeah.
It's like a
while
German cover of that.
While we're on the road, Rodrik would like to do what he was paid for, and I would like to scan the horizon for potential threats.
Cool, give me a perception check.
Cool. First roll with this guy.
Oh, what's your perception modifier?
Only a +2. 9.
Horizon looks clear. You can even see a couple of good spots for camp, but doesn't look like there's much threats here. The south is definitely a lot quieter than the north.
What time of day are we at? How long have we been riding?
You guys set out just before noon. It is now getting maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, getting into the early evening. You could probably still go for maybe another hour or two before you properly lose light. You're still in the early winter months, so it is getting darker earlier, but not quite there yet. So you could probably get another 2 hours riding. Just get that a little bit further.
I know it is proper like country-sized, but just from scanning over the plains, would I be able to see either Maya or Kinreen from where we are?
You would be able to see the tops of the southernmost points of Myrr. That's the closest you would get. Myrr is essentially built of very, very almost large, kind of almost redwood size, but still very oak tree looking like. So like very, very big old oaks. So you can see them cresting over the hill, or at least the very southern point.
I get as I said, I know it's country-sized. It was just like scanning across if it was flat enough, if we'd be able to see anything over the horizon.
Yeah, you can just see the treetops, and again, that's only really because of your 19 passive perception. As Ranaagash. Hi.
Vision bingo.
It's a D6 now, so it's getting even smaller. As, you know, I feel you're going to get interrupted listening to your tunes in the back of the carriage.
The Ring of Fire.
4.
Ring of Fire.
It's my favorite K-pop artist.
Does the
He's
K
called
stand for
Ranaagash.
Kevin?
What?
Does the K stand for Kevin? As in call me.
Yes.
Maybe. Yes.
Right. As Ranaagash, you're in your carriage listening to your tunes. Canonical now. There
Magical canon.
are still some conversations, I guess, going on outside, just kind of the tail ends of some of them. As you kind of, I guess, start having the conversations almost blending. As you obviously hear the boys, you hear Rodrik, you hear Azamir occasionally chime in, and then the voices change, and you lose Eidolon and Wulfric and Rodrik. Azamir stays, however, his tone seems to shift. And I guess you almost black out, but you don't come to any scene, you just almost seem to stay in the middling void, almost in a mindscape. As you can hear Azamir's voice, you are usually quite good at discerning voice, but you can also hear another voice, a voice that you are also becoming quite familiar with over the past couple of weeks. Craig, shut up. As it seems to be that you can hear the internal monologue of Azamir, or at least some of it, as he is in conversation, as I get to talk to myself as the GM. Oh, how I miss this. As in a relatively worried tone, Azamir kinda, I guess his thoughts seem to trail, and you just hear him, I guess, sigh, almost exasperated in the back of his mind. The elf's dead. They likely left him behind. I don't really know what to do with the other 3. Do I just keep going to Kinreen? As you hear the voice reply, I can take care of the elf. I need you to make sure the boys and Eidolon get to Kinreen. Ideally alive, but I only really need one of the others alive. What happens to the other 2, I don't care. Though their corpses would be useful if you can get them there. As Azamir kind of stutters, I don't know if I get away with that. You already ask too much of me, and there you said you would let me go, and now here I am on my way to Kinreen, and you've still not let me go. As you hear almost the voice chuckle in the back of his mind, I will let you go, and I find no further use for you. For now you are useful, in more ways than one. So, you will continue on your path, and you will bring Eidolon to Kinreen. Again, I don't care what happens to the other 2, though it would help if our listener would perhaps make it there too.
Fucking podcast. Like the worst podcast you've ever listened to.
As you almost hear pacing in the back of your mind, almost in this mindscape, you can hear kind of, I guess, Azamir start to mutter, but it seems to almost disappear in the distance. As the voice seems to address you, though still in someone else's mindscape. You know it's rude to eavesdrop, Ranaagash.
So you don't like what I can do when it's inconvenient for you?
Inconvenient, perhaps, if you open your mouth. But then I feel it would just be more inconvenient for you.
I'm willing to suffer a little just to piss you off.
A little. Be careful what you say. How did you get in his head?
Damn, I always do.
From what I understand, your prophetic abilities don't seem to allow you into the mindscape of someone else. You merely watch their present.
First time for everything.
Indeed. You're getting more and more interesting by the day. So, can you leave on your own accord, or do you have a time limit?
I guess we'll find out.
Indeed. Perhaps by then I can find you. Or perhaps I should just continue asking you questions so that I have the time to find you.
Hang up.
Do I have the choice to duck out of this mindscape?
You can give me a wisdom save.
It's like when you contact with a god, you just kind of put the phone down.
I mean, technically you can't do that, there's nothing stopping you.
14.
I actually need to find out what his modifier is. Give me 2 seconds, I didn't think I'd actually need this. Not that one, not that one. Ah, where is he? I mean, I didn't actually think I'd need him, so he's kind of far away. There he is. Oh, it's not that bad. So that would be a 16, as he is just better than you. As you try to pull yourself out, I guess, of the mindscape, away from your vision, you've been able to do it before, and relatively successfully, though it usually gives you some repercussions on the other end. This time, it seems you can't. Something is keeping you here, or someone is keeping you here.
Gee, I wonder who.
I would suggest you probably get better at that trick for the next time we meet.
Noted.
Will you tell Eidolon I was here?
Why would I tell you what I plan to do? Why would I make your life easy for you?
I win either way. You tell him, he gets angry. Most likely people will die. Someone who won't deserve it will die. I still win. You don't tell him. I also win. So you could make this easy on yourself and answer my question.
No. I'll be stubborn. I'm gonna keep this to myself. Like I always do.
I wonder how long you can keep everything to yourself.
Well, I guess we'll find that out too as well, won't we?
Perhaps you just need a nudge in the right direction. Perhaps I can help you open up a little bit more.
Why would I let you help me? Why would I want that?
I'm sorry, was I giving you a choice?
Yeah, because the last time you gave someone a choice, that went very well for you, didn't it?
And what is that supposed to mean?
Well, she chose Eidolon, didn't she?
She did not choose Eidolon.
You keep telling yourself that, then. Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Goodbye, Ranaagash.
There we go.
As you're expelled from the mindscape, quite forcefully, by the feeling of it. I need to do some math.
I don't think he's going to like you very much for that, Matthew.
That was the plan.
You take 37 damage.
37?
37.
Ouchie!
Okay.
As you're expelled, you almost feel like you are being pushed. But when you come to in the back of the carriage, it almost shudders and shakes. Eidolon, you would notice this with your passive perception, the kind of back of the carriage almost shuddering as if like Ranaagash has kind of been moving around, but I guess more stumbling around. And Ranaagash, you can feel your leathers, so obviously your clothing, is very, very wet and also very, very sticky. Almost like sticking to your flesh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Your boy's got the sweats.
Perhaps, though it also feels like kind of leaking a little bit. Particularly around your chest and your shoulders and your arms.
Yeah. Your boy's bleeding profusely. Which is appropriate given I'm on 3 HP.
Oh, what?
Oh, wait, did you say I see this?
You wouldn't have obviously been able to see Ranaagash's reaction, but you've been able to see the carriage physically shake. As it looks like Ranaagash has maybe stood up, maybe the carriage hit a rock and he's stumbling around and knocked into something, but you can see it shake.
Just to make sure, I've got the scarf now, so no one will be able to see it. We just crack the neck to the side, activate the visage, and just say, I guess you teared this in your head, Ranaagash. Everything alright in there?
Give me a sec. Wolfen can heal now, right?
I have no clue why. You stab yourself?
No, but... Well... Can I tell you later when I'm not, bleeding?
You hear a telepathic sigh as I would instead change my telepathy over to the man who just fucking disappeared. Yeah, instead you'd hear in your head, Wulfric. Can you do anything to close wounds?
I think I can.
You'd have to say that out loud. Just so you know.
What with that,
I-
Wulfric? You think you can?
Azamir kind of looks. Is there a problem, gentlemen?
You'd
No.
hear in your head, Wulfric, this is up to you.
You just gotta give me a sec. As soon as we can stop, I'll fix it.
As you'd again hear in your head, for whatever reason, Ranaagash is apparently wounded profusely. Don't
Thinking
respond.
really hard.
He's
You
trying
can't
to telepathy
respond.
you.
You might have magic now, but you don't have that kind of magic. Just when we stop, or if we have a reason to stop earlier, let's try not have him bleed out in the carriage where we can't help him.
Right.
Does that actually seem too far from nightfall?
Not really. I mean, you could be riding for another 2-3 hours, but considering something is going on, Azamir kind of turns to you. It's like, we can stop at the side of the road if you want, gents. We would be making camp in 2 hours anyway. There's no difference between here or there. We could just travel for a little longer tomorrow.
That works perfectly. Right, we'll stop.
As he takes his carriage off the road, leads the horses obviously off the road, hops down from his carriage and starts to tend to them, kind of leaving, I guess, the two of you, obviously, and Rodrik as well, just kind of to do your own thing. Ranaagash, you can feel the carriage stop. You can hear the horses start to be unbuckled and untied from the carriage, and the conversation seems to drop.
I'm gonna go check the perimeter. And I'll, wander about to look about and see where we've camped is actually safe.
Right. I'm gonna help Ranaagash out of the cart.
Maybe. I'd still be saying, actually, it's not been 10 minutes, so I can. Maybe make sure he's okay before he gets out the cart.
Are you doing alright now, besides the profuse bleeding?
Fine as I can be, I suppose.
Right, Wulfric kind of rolls up his one sleeve that he can actually roll up. He's like, right, I'm gonna try something. We're gonna hope that this works.
What happens if it doesn't?
He just does nothing.
Okay.
Smite him.
I'm gonna put my hand on the wound.
Well, you need to get to the wound first. He still has his leathers on.
I'm gonna undo some of the leathers.
I'll stay outside the
Question
door
mark.
of the... I'll stay outside the door of the cart and let Wulfric do his thing uninterrupted.
Put the hand on the wound, and I will pump all 35 points of my lay on hands into it.
Big boy numbers.
Which I imagine, to someone who's just taken 37 points of damage, would feel like getting fucking defibrillated while conscious.
Essentially, yeah, as you're trying to restore everything at once. The wounds that you can see when you do eventually obviously get Rand's leathers off are very, very deep, nearly 2 inches in some places, where they are very, very thin claw marks, raking up his back, raking up his chest, and into his shoulder, where a lot of the puncture wounds are nearly 5 inches deep. His leathers are completely undamaged. His tunic is completely undamaged, though it is obviously very bloody. When you heal him, you watch as, well, Wulfric is quite heavily tatted under his armour. Some of his tats, actually nearly all of them, start almost glowing. Just almost like the ink turning from black to white, this very, very radiant light, as his hand kind of jolts as he's not quite used to the feeling of healing someone yet, and it almost feels like a bolt of electricity goes through your body and starts to knit all the wounds back together again, and obviously sew them in quite sporadic, instant fashion that feels good but also feels really, really uncomfortable. Like, you know when you've got pins and needles and then you stand on it and it feels good but it fucking hurts? Kind of like that.
Just... That work? You alright?
Yes, that's better.
Good, thank God I haven't killed another one. Right. Let's get setting up camp.
If I hear all that, I would step out, let Wulfric help Ren out, or if Ren can get by himself, and whilst keeping an eye on the two of them, obviously, start unpacking some of the shit from the horses.
Setting up quite a
Still
decent
checking the perimeter.
Give me an investigation or a perception, whichever you're better at, Paul. Or whichever Rodrik is better at.
I'm a -1 investigations. Let's go for perception. 9. Crap.
Ah, another...
Hey, your 2 rolls have been 2 9s.
And the same variation of 9 as well.
My last 3 rolls have been 9s.
Yeah. Actually, no, your last 4 rolls have been 9s because your other death save that wasn't Matthew's portent 18 was also a 9 when you were testing to see if it would be a success or a failure.
Oh, so it was.
So your last 4 rolls have been 9s.
4 9s.
The perimeter itself seems quite safe. You're not too far from the main road, which I guess is a bonus as much as it is a worry. If anyone comes along the road, they'll obviously see the camp, but there's not really anywhere you could camp here in terms of like cover. So it's as good as you're going to get, at least whilst you're still on, or at least in this part of the plains. Nothing really seems to be, I guess, an immediate threat, but again, if you were to be attacked in the middle of the night, you would be completely unprepared, as they could pretty much come from anywhere, knowing your position and you wouldn't know theirs.
When I return to the party, I'll say, I'm not too happy about this spot, but it'll do.
I'll be up all night anyway, so if anything comes, it won't exactly make too much of a difference.
Or do you want to take first watch?
Eidolon almost has a light chuckle to himself before he looks up. I take watch. Ask the two of them. As I point at Wulfric and Ranaagash.
That's what he does.
Fair enough, I like my sleep.
As what you'd see Eidolon pull out of his satchel, Rodrik, I haven't had to describe this in a little while, is a single piton that you see him take, drive into the ground, stomp on it until it gets to the point you wouldn't really be able to take it out, and then begins attaching a pair of manacles to the bottom part of it.
Turn to the rest of the party, is this normal? Is it something I should be concerned about?
It's just very chronic sleepwalker. It's a bit more dignified than just tying him down.
Oh, I understand.
Azamir kind of chuckles as he starts to kind of light the fire. I was about to ask the same.
Well, don't be sleeping on your watch.
I don't.
Fair enough. I think Rodrik would start preparing his little bedroll. Imagine he's got a little, maybe, flask of something that he keeps tucked away.
He takes up like an owlbear, like plushie.
Yeah, he sucks his thumb or some shit. No, yeah, Rodrik would just have like maybe a little flask with God knows what's inside it, but it's strong and it helps him sleep.
It's vinegar.
No.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
No.
I would make gesture at Ranaagash because he said after he wasn't profusely bleeding. So I'd more just give him a shrug. I have not tied myself down yet.
Now the time. What time is it?
So it's
like early evening.
Getting into early evening. Azamir has collected as much as he can in terms of kindling kind of from around the plains, and he started a small fire going. He's pulled some stuff from his carriage to start some food going, and I guess you're kind of more setting up your sleeping areas, setting up your sleeping quarters.
Did you say it to me telepathically, Matthew, with message?
Yeah.
Then responding, because I can with message.
You can, yes.
I don't know. I don't know what you're going to say.
Well, there's a lot. One last night, one, well, there. Both different and both well, at least one of them was very worrying. Other ones maybe just kind of painful for you.
Eidolon just gives a telepathic sigh. What, do you want to take a walk away from camp tonight?
Probably best. I don't know how good your poker face is, but let's not put it to the test. Okay, that
Is that an
rain.
insult?
That rain. No, but be careful about this.
I'm fucking with you. You should tell Wulfric that we'll be gone and he should take a basic lookout after we leave.
Alright. I kind of not to idle and sort of get up and be like, gonna take a walk. Do you mind accompanying with me?
I can do that. Wulfric, you mind keeping an eye around here?
Right.
As I'd more just give a simple nod and head with Ranaagash.
Into the forest or something.
Into the outback. But like the green outback.
I just want to make the simple question because again, Eidolon's suspicious. Just for the sake of clarification, I'm not saying this because of what Matthew saw, it's just in general. Do Rodrik and or Azamir react at all to Ranaagash saying that?
No. You can see Azamir is going through his carriage trying to, I guess, locate something is the best way to put it. He's searching through several bottles and several bags looking for something. Whether Rodrik would react or not, that's not me. That's a Paul decision.
I don't think I would. I think I would just lay on my bedroll and, sort of just vibe. Not that particularly interested. If I had cards, I'd be like playing with them. I do actually. I just look at my equipment. I do have a playing card set. I'm just playing solitaire.
In that case, when we get just a little bit further from the group, I would just lean into Ran. Should we take Wulfric for this? More just a secondary thought.
Let's deal with your stuff first, and we can share the news.
My stuff, all right. Come on.
What do you want? What do you want first? The relevant stuff or the painful stuff?
Are we? I'm assuming we're far enough from camp.
At this point, yeah, you will have been.
In the order you got them in. What happened last night?
Right, painful first. Well.
Oh, great.
You remember? I'd say our friend, but our enemy. Gerger.
You don't need to be subtle about it.
Well, I like to test the waters. Don't want to throw it all out at once. What's something about?
You threw it all out at once when you said the name for the first time. That broke enough ice.
All right. Well, your wife was also there. Something. You staying at the wall late. Him being sent to check on her. Rather nice, rather domestic, if that's a word. It seemed rather out of character for him.
Not at all, actually. Anything else of importance?
Well, the reason for her being checked in on was she was with child, I suppose is a way to put it.
So more recent than the other visions you've had, then?
I believe so, yes.
What, did you want to ask something about that?
No, but just... Again, these things are painful for you, and I don't want to...
Listen, Ranaagash. I have already dealt with the pain. I had the month and a half whilst traveling across the plains to come to terms with it. If you need to state these things or ask questions, do not take the time to have courtesy for my feelings as I've moved past them.
Alright.
When you need to say something or ask something, do so.
Alright.
Zidlon would not relax slightly, but just have a rather deep sigh.
Mm-hmm.
Is it more just gesture for you to continue?
To the more relevant thing then. Well, let's say I've been seeing the looks you've been giving Azamir, and you're right, in a way.
Explain.
Again, coming back to Rodrik, he's in the hoots. That's the word?
So when he said he was closer than we thought in Westcross...
Kinreen, I think.
What was that, sorry? I didn't hear what you said there.
Kinreen, I think.
No. As in, when we were in the basement, the Lord's Manor, he said he was closer than we thought.
Yeah.
So when we were in Westcross, it's looking like he was likely at the Sleeping Stag with Azamir. Or at least close enough by.
Possibly, yes.
Alright, what should we do about that? We obviously need to tell Wulfric.
I don't know what we can do because... Well, he knows that I know. And he's
What do you mean he knows that you know?
He knows that I know. It wasn't like a normal vision. It wasn't just watch something happen, maybe participate. It was eavesdropping on a conversation, I suppose.
As in they were having it when you peered in?
I believe so.
So what, is us heading to Kinreen intentional?
I presume so. Whatever Gerger has planned, he definitely wants you there, he definitely wants me there, and he couldn't care less for the other two.
Well, it seems like there isn't really anything we can do except continue. We're not heading anywhere else but Kinreen at the moment, so that's where we'll go.
Yeah.
If it's a trap, it's a trap. We gotta make sure we are ready and Wulfric's ready.
Yeah.
Don't really know anything we can do about Azamir for the moment.
No.
I'll keep an eye on him, but that's about it.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
Anything else?
I believe that's all for the moment. I suppose did I manage to get all the blood out?
I'd look up and down him. Does he still have blood on him?
A little bit, yeah. It's going to need a proper soapstone when you actually probably get to Kinreen.
Listen, if you've got a place back in Kinreen or close by, you'll need a proper scrub. That's not going to come out easily.
You could take it back to Mum.
That's the plan, yeah.
What's she gonna say when you show up with a blooded tunic?
You piss off Bartak again.
Oh no. It's abusive.
No, Ran's just fragile.
Yeah.
Also, Ranaagash, as I'd sort of like turn back to start heading towards the camp again.
Yes.
Even if it's not the nicest way that I'd want someone to find out, it's appreciated to hear about my wife again.
It's the least I could do, but it just happened.
It's just nice to hear that outside of her death, she still exists in the world, or at least did.
In a way, yes. I suppose if you remember her, she's still here.
It's the affirmation of whilst I'm away from the place that knew her, that she really was there in the end. That's all.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Oh, if you've not got anything else more to say, come on.
Alright. Back to camp.
Mosey on back. Whilst we're on the way back, I'd essentially just ask him to telepathically tell Wulfric the information, or take a walk with Wulfric. It's up to you.
What is range on 100? Do I want to put Wulfric's poker face to the test?
Could be funny.
Because you guys technically
Might not
aren't
be
there.
worth it.
I feel like if that goes badly, we're gonna have to open very many cans of worms to Rodrik and Azamir.
It's up to you.
I think I'll wait for now.
We just need to make sure he knows.
Yeah.
Doesn't trust Wulfric's poker face.
That's it. I mean, to be fair, that's the only thing we don't trust about you. We want to tell you all this information, it's just we don't trust you to be able to react accordingly.
Again, there's a lot of writing on that.
Ewan, how's your poker face? Oh, he just looks dead.
Dead inside.
He really just looks dead inside. Anyway, we'll make our way back.
As the two of you obviously head back to camp after going for a wander. At this point, Azamir has found what he was searching for. It seems to be several bottles of some form of liquid that's got quite a sweet aroma to it. Wulfric and Rodrik have set up their beds. If the two of you want, boys, you could have been playing cards for a little while. I know Wulfric likes doing that in his spare time, and he's pretty good at it.
Who wins?
You hear Rodrik go, "Gin rummy," you know. Read him and wait, boys.
What card game's Wulfric playing though?
Go fish.
We've been playing blackjack for the past half an hour. Why do you have 7 cards?
I thought we were playing Go Fish.
Why do you have the Ace of Diamonds when I've got the Ace of Diamonds right here?
What? And I take his card and have a look at it. And just that bastard merchant in West Cross, and I'd chuck the card away.
It's just an entire deck of Ace of Diamonds. That's every card in the deck.
Rodrik the owner is, I'm doing Ace.
I was essentially just waving them down when we get back. I'd go over to my shit, manacle myself up, lock the key, and pass over to Ranaagash.
Yeah.
Can you catch it?
Probably not, but it's a nice aesthetic.
It's
Fumbles with it.
He catches it after fumbling with it.
Yeah, it does one that's all.
Yeah.
Got it.
As I take to the ground, give Wulfric I gave Wulfric Rodrik and all that a wave, but I give Wulfric quite an intentional nod after I sit down, before just taking out my whetstone from my obsidian longsword and giving it a bit of a tend to.
Well, I'm beat. And Rodrik would lay his head down, have one big swig of whatever, and close his eyes.
So innocent, so alcoholic.
Azamir too would retire, having ensured that there is at least enough kindling to keep it going for a warm fire. He chooses not to stay in the carriage, he instead stays outside, though stays quite close to the horses.
He's a horse.
It's quite good for at least someone to be nearby if something were to go wrong, so he stays quite close to them. As it kind of leaves the three of you.
Rodrik, as he sleeps, snores like a fucking chainsaw. Just proper.
Hey, we have a cover of sound now.
Yes.
Before Ranaagash says anything, if Ranaagash does say anything, I'll essentially look over I'm pretty confident, Rodrik, again, he had that suspicious comment, but he seems like an open enough book. He's snoring, I can assume he's asleep.
Yes.
But does it seem like Azamir's asleep?
Give me a perception or an insight.
I'll give a perception because it is more of an overview, less than a insight. That is a 25.
Not bad.
He appears to be asleep. Whether he's in a deep sleep or not is a different matter, but he does appear to at least be attempting to fall asleep.
Okay. It's up to you then, Ranaagash.
Imagine I'll kind of like turn to Eidolon, kind of give him that, like, give him the eyebrow.
You'd look over to Azamir, like shrug slightly and give a very slow nod. It's like, you can do it, but be careful.
It's like very unsubtle nod.
I can do subtlety, you cannot.
Yeah. Oh, suppose now I get to hit up Wulfric's DMs and let him know what's going on.
You up?
Not that kind of sliding into DMs. Not gonna. Don't want to steal him from his girl back home.
I think you could do it.
Let's not.
Play the game.
Let's not pontificate on that. Let's just, move
Play the
swiftly
game.
on. How do I open this?
I don't know.
So, hey, this isn't. I've done this before, right? Again, you can respond like.
Telepathically.
Right.
I'm thinking this.
Alright, okay.
Yes.
Alright, well that's good. Not as spooky. But basically, figured it'd be a good idea to warn you, but something is likely going to happen in Kinreen.
Something always happens.
I'm aware, yes, seems to be wherever we go. Remember that sort of projection, I guess, from down in the basement in Lord's Manor? I believe it's something to do with him again.
Oh, shucks.
And he's in cahoots with Azamir. But obviously, that's how that happens, we don't know, but he is also aware that I know, so sort of we know that he knows that I know that, one of those.
Chain of understanding.
Yes, that's the words. But no, that's about it. Just be prepared to put that new axe of yours to the test.
I do have a few other tricks though.
Be nice to see them in action. No, that's all. I'll let you sleep, you'll need it.
Alright. Thank you.
Now, slide out with those DMs and go to bed.
As the night is quite peaceful, except from Rodrik's snoring. It takes a while, I guess, for Wulfric and Ranaagash to actually get to sleep because of the incessant white noise that seems to overlap the noise of the countryside that they've grown so used to. Eidolon, you don't sleep very much anyway, so it doesn't really bother you.
I suppose, yeah.
As Eidolon, I need a perception check with disadvantage.
Okie doke, that's not nice. That is a 15. It's quite embarrassing.
It is, actually.
It's still only 4 beneath my passive, so I can't complain too much.
As you are, I guess, drifting in and out of consciousness is kind of how you've gotten used to sleep. You never really fully fall into a deep sleep. You try and keep it as light as possible to be aware as possible. But perhaps you slip...
like a Warforged.
Kind of, yeah. Perhaps you slip just that little bit too deep for only a few seconds or perhaps a minute, you're not too sure. What brings you back though to some form of consciousness is a very warm hand being placed over your mouth. Almost unsettlingly warm.
Just listening less than seeing. Can I hear the movements of anybody behind me?
Very, very delicate movements. Very, very soft movements. Very, very intentional movements. The point that you didn't hear them even approach. Most likely not someone in the camp, because you never heard any bedrolls being disturbed. You never heard the horses being disturbed. In fact, they're likely still sleeping, and you can still hear Rodrik snoring. So it's definitely not him either. As the hand is quite delicate over your mouth.
I'm restrained, which is the main awkward part about this. Slowly, rather intentionally, I'm going to take my right hand, put it against the person's hand, move it out the way, if I'm able to.
There will be no resistance.
As keeping my hand restrained, I would just essentially just pivot myself around. Very slowly, very intentionally.
I guess they kind of more keep a hand on your shoulder, stopping you from pivoting just that little bit. You're not going to wake them up, are you?
Do I recognize the voice?
You do. Perhaps only briefly. Though makes a little bit more sense with the temperature of the hand.
Just because I know you're probably about to tell me anyway, so can I potentially try to say who I think it is before you do?
If you want.
Is this the bandit that I fought against during the when we essentially tried to raid the bandit camp?
The tiefling, yes.
Yeah, it is?
As it's the voice you recognise. Is even in the dying embers of the fire, you can't obviously discern colour, you can't really discern features, but you can at least discern her voice, and her hands are very much a lot warmer than what you'd expect from a human's hands.
Eidolon would sigh in that case. I won't. Remove your hand from my shoulder so I can speak directly to you.
She does so with some caution.
I would turn around, we'll pivot around, stand up slightly. Of course, arms still kind of connected to the ground. It's a bit one-sided leaned. I can't promise they won't hear anything. I don't know how good the new ones are at listening.
They won't hear anything as long as you don't talk loudly.
Unless you threaten anyone's life here, then I won't. Why are you here?
I came to warn you.
Against?
Nilsine.
She's here for him, isn't she? As I cast my gaze down to Wulfric.
She kind of slowly nods. She thinks it's only fair. A life for a life.
I can't say I fully agree, but I can't say I fully blame that way of thinking.
I tried to dissuade them. I was able to get Tony and Vodrum to some degree, but Tony was unconscious and Vodrum saw what he did.
Listen, I'll keep this simple for you. Where is this going to happen tomorrow?
Along the road, not so far past the southern point of Myrr. We have the advantage in the woods.
With this advice, we can easily circumvent where you're going to be. But we won't, if you can make one promise to me.
What would that be?
Obviously, you keep myself, and I gesture down to Ranaagash, out of it. I will do my best to make sure, and I gesture my head to the very loudly snoring man and the merchant, out of it. And you will make sure it is kept between Wulfric and this Nilsine.
I will try.
I know that's the best you can say at the moment, but no, you'll have to. Because unless I can get a base guarantee, I'll make sure our company goes around that point. It's not difficult in open plains.
I can't offer much more than I'll try. I know.
Then are your friends competent enough to listen?
Yes.
I trust Wulfric enough now that this shouldn't end in bloodshed. However, if that trust is seemingly misplaced, then it will deserve to.
I don't particularly want it to end in bloodshed.
And if he's the man he says he is now, it shouldn't. We'll continue down the road we're on. If you need to, you can take action to keep those two out of it. But myself, I trust Ranaagash enough not to get involved.
I can't say we won't act at the beginning. I can't say that I was here.
Just as long as your group do not take actions against him, Planet Wulfric, and do not take active action against us, then any initial action is fine enough.
No.
Caution makes sense.
Take any bonus actions or
Reactions.
extra attacks or reactions.
Don't be having any
You're
of
free
this
to-
extra attack shit.
You're free to leave.
I'm sorry.
Her feelings make sense. You can't exactly expect someone to get over a death of someone you know personally very quickly. And revenge is a natural course of thought.
Yes, but when does the revenge stop?
Either when they stop or you stop. And rarely does the first one turn out the way you want it to. Which is why this shouldn't end in bloodshed. You should get back. You don't want any of them getting suspicious if you're not there and they happen to wake up.
They won't, at least not until first light. Tony and Vodrum, they have deep sleeps, and Nilsine, she kind of gestures at Rodrik, snores like that one.
It's for the sake of caution.
I know, I'm just trying to make light.
Sadly, I'm not too good at that.
Is she kind of gives you a nod? Takes a few steps, obviously heading back. Again, I'm sorry. We don't want to hurt anyone else.
and he doesn't want to hurt any more of you, nor does he wish he hurt the one he did. It's up to him, however, to make her believe that.
She kind of gives you more of a sad look. You can tell that even she believes that is almost at this point an impossible feat. His very, very hopeless expression kind of glimmers in the light of a dying fire as she disappears into the darkness.
Before she does, I'll just call quite quietly out, "See you tomorrow."
You get no response back, though now that you're
I
more
guess.
aware of her, you can hear her running through the plains. Very, very light footsteps, though. Quite impressive, in fact.
Immediately after that, I'm turning my eye back to the camp to see if anybody was awake for the duration of that.
No, everyone seems to be asleep.
Okay. That's good enough for now then. As I'll continue to keep a basic lookout.
In and out of consciousness. As
Mhm.
before it gets to the dawn, we ourselves, as people, will take a short break so that I can get some deuce. And we'll be back with the dawn very, very shortly. back from break, and my software hasn't shut itself, which is also good. Looks like this episode might actually record properly, and it might be episode 19 we have to worry about, not the double digits of 9.
Stop jinxing it.
Time to Dungeons and Dragons.
Doesn't really
And
fit,
it
does
could
it?
be.
I mean, you
It could be
duel.
Yu-Gi-Oh with the amount of things that just happen to take the damage still.
That's true. Like Ran.
It still
Takes the damage.
It's my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh series. I'm not taking that back.
As obviously going into the next morning, the 4 of you wake up, as does Azamir. He seems to be a little bit up a little bit early. He has rekindled the fire and started to cook breakfast. Obviously, Eidolon and Ranaagash, you're not too far after him. And then obviously
For a
Wulfric.
rock at Ranaagash. Ranaagash throws key at me.
Yeah.
The system works.
The
I
usual
can see
morning
that. I
routine.
can see that like framed in like an anime where you just throw the rock off camera here, and then just the key coming
comes
back into frame.
The jingling noise.
Yeah.
Um,
Catch.
As in obviously kind of getting in as the food is cooking, Wulfric and Rodrik also wake up and find their place around the fire.
What's being cooked?
At this point it would be essentially dried meats, tends to taste better. However, he does also transport some food in his carriage, so also eggs are being fried.
Rodrik, being a bigger, older guy, takes about half the food.
Sorry, I'm just imagining the egg line from Gaston's song. It's because you said eggs and now Paul says that.
Swallows half a dozen eggs.
Needs to get large.
The Gaston song, but the amount of... I remember seeing one of those, it was Gaston, but the amount of eggs he needs to eat multiply.
As you're kind of all having breakfast, obviously Rodrik, seemingly now with a larger portion than the rest of you, Azamir kind of, I guess, takes a breath. We should make good pace today. We're a little late up, but we can make up for it in the evening.
Yes, we shall.
Adon gives a nod, casting an eye out, mainly looking over the horizons, but trying to gauge how long it'll take it to get to the, essentially, emerging into the Kinreen area. Well, not Kinreen area, the, boundaries of Maiar.
You don't really know, I guess, this side of the world too well. You have walked these roads once on your way down, but other than that, you've not really experienced them much. You reckon you'd probably be about half a day before you got to the southern glades of Maiar.
Okay.
You'd probably be getting into early evening, if not a little bit earlier, by the time you got to the forests.
Hey, Wulfric, mind helping me tack the horse up to the carriage? Kinda want to sit inside today, if that's okay with you, Ranaagash.
Yeah.
I'd quite appreciate
Yeah.
the company today.
Of course.
As with Wulfric's help, I'll tack my horse up to the carriage.
Horses tacked, stuff put away, food eaten. Rodrik and Wulfric
Slapped. Alright, let's rock and roll.
Wulfric and Rodrik riding outside with Azamir obviously taking the reins of the horses, and Eidolon and Ranaagash taking seat inside the carriage. You're able to make, I guess, a little bit better pace with the carriage because you now have 3 horses tacked instead of 2. Yes? No. Yes. I always forget Rodrik's
Whilst-
horse is an add-on horse, so yes, you have 3
Whilst-
horses attached to the carriage.
Whilst in the carriage, after maybe about an hour, I'd sort of look towards Ranaagash and just kind of like tap myself against the head. See if you can work out what that means.
I wonder. No, I'll message and be like, "What's up?"
The bandits are showing up again.
The bandits.
The only ones we've really come up against.
Take it they're looking for revenge, or
They're not after us. They don't care about us.
is it
They're only looking for Wulfric.
understandable?
Well, I say they, only one of them is.
Is it the angry one?
Shockingly, yes, it is the angry one. As long as we keep out of it, they'll keep out of it and let the 2 of them settle their differences.
All right,
I just wanted to give some forewarning.
it's appreciated.
As much as we could have gone around it, I feel it's best to get this resolved here and now.
Yeah.
And after everything that happened in Westcross, I trust Wulfric to be able to do this right.
Yeah, I hope so.
Just, if necessary, help me keep Azamir and Rodrik out of this.
I'll see what I can do.
If words don't suffice, I mean.
Yeah.
I know you've not got the best eyes in the world, but keep an eye out the window. I don't really know these parts, so I don't know when they'll be showing up.
All right, I can do that.
There you go. That's all I wanted to say.
Cool.
Okay, so lean over and roll down the carriage window again.
Following his example, I will roll down my carriage window.
Fucking
It's
Eidolon,
no canon.
Eidolon gets the fucking aux cord.
Blasting
What music
the
does
tunes.
Eidolon listen to? What do I
Eidolon-
listen to?
Eidolon listens to Doom 2016.
I know everybody thinks it's like super serious music, but Eidolon has the same music taste as an emo kid circa 2010. So you just hear, "How can you see?"
Just Evanescence blaring.
Wake me up, wake me up.
If I'm honest, I was more feeling Linkin Park in the end, but you know.
Works too.
I've become so numb.
All works. Everything works.
Basically anything that would be either in the iPod of an emo teenager or in the credits of a Transformers movie.
Yes. Eidolon's music taste is Transformers.
Though occasionally one song comes along that like starts completely differently from the rest, and he just has to rush to skip it.
Yeah. It's like he has to hide his pop phase because he needs to keep the facade of Edge up.
Who put Carly Rae Jepsen in this playlist? Yes.
God damn it, Ferrith, why do you have to do
Who's
everything?
messing with my Who messed with my iPod?
He puts it on shuffle and it's just edgy song. Dun dun dun. Oh baby, baby.
This is canon now. I'm not going back from this.
Why has all your characters got to play like that, Craig?
It just makes sense. I play edgy characters who aren't really edgy.
Because Eliza has the same one.
It's Britney
Here's a
Bitch.
typecast, leave him alone.
Oh, sure. Although
They're
Eidolon's
never the
not...
same.
Eidolon's a
It's just
poser.
Like, Eidolon is like cheesy pop, Eliza's more like Disney princess, so...
Thank you very much. He
I have a
hoovers his
terrible-
manor
I have a
house.
terrible, awful joke, and be sure to cut this.
In less edgy jokes, Wulfric absolutely has like the most egregiously dad rock fucking.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He's got fucking Journey on there.
No doubt at all.
He's got fucking AC/DC
Yeah.
and like
I'm actually pretty sure my dad had a CD that was called Dad Rock, and it was of all of that kind of shit.
Okay, we
Yeah,
can't
but
get back to D&D until we know every member of the party's playlist, so let's just please get through that so we can get back to D&D. Matthew, what does Ranaagash listen to when he's stuck in the
K-pop.
carriage? Which, do you say hip-hop or K-pop?
I said K-pop. It's not shameful. I like K-pop. K-pop is good.
I mean, of course you do, Ewan, but moving on.
The fuck's that supposed to mean? But like,
I
K-pop
was
is
gonna, no,
great.
wait, I can't say that. I can't say that. No, I
This
can't
is a
say that.
dangerous, dangerous hole.
Rodrik
No, I can't
is.
say what I wanted to say.
The idea I have for Rodrik is that he's a biker kind of guy. So, like, I don't know, that kind of. Have you ever listened to like the soundtrack of Sons of Anarchy? It's all that kind of shit.
Listen to
Like-
he just listens to fucking Trapped. Fucking Headstrong by Trapped is on
No.
loop on his fucking.
No, he listens to the White Buffalo. If you know who he is,
I'm not familiar.
check him out. He's actually pretty good.
Will do. What did the late
No.
Marcus R listen to?
Ooh.
The late Marcus R was absolutely one of the motherfuckers who was like, "You've never heard of this band? It's really underground, Arctic Monkeys."
No, he wasn't. I spit in your face.
The first stereotype of Marcus R. Paul's offended by.
No,
He can run a cult, he can be a preacher, but if he listens to the Arctic Monkeys, that's the final straw.
No, it's. I styled him to be the leader of a hippie style commune, so he would definitely listen to Hendrix,
Cream.
yeah, shit like that. Oh, Sunshine of Your Love, what a banger! That's exactly his song, Sunshine of Your Love. That kind of shit. Anything that played at Woodstock, that's what Marcus R likes.
Fucking Joan Jett.
I mean, possibly.
Impossible.
Ow. I just
I'm not
stabbed
as
myself
versed.
in the eye with a pencil.
And maybe he likes a little bit of Jared Leto because he's a weirdo too.
Is this staying in the recording?
We shall see.
Hendrix.
Ah,
Just put
Just
this
chocolate.
on during the break. This is the filler.
This is what happens when the break screen cuts. This is what the shit we talk about.
I was immediately gonna make a joke that like Marcus. I was like, oh, I listened to this guy. He really speaks to me. The Smiths.
Oh shit.
Morrissey enjoyer. Derogatory.
Oh boy.
Back to D&D.
There'll be a lot of Morrissey fans in the comment section, huh?
Getting back to D&D.
No.
Yes. I need Ranaagash to make me a perception check.
Oh boy.
Do I also need to make one?
Technically, yes, you would.
Woo!
So I do still have a copy paste.
28!
Why do I fucking bother?
5.
Cool.
How big of a difference is that between our rolls?
23.
It's more than 20.
23, yeah.
23. As Eidolon, you won't notice it immediately. Ranaagash, you have no fucking clue. With your 5. But it's more the sensation I get which allows you to notice it quite quickly. Eidolon is as you're sitting in the back of the carriage with Ran. You don't remember activating it, you know, your arms.
Oh, wait, what?
But you can see that your tendrils, not fully corporeal, they're quite semi-corporeal, almost translucent in some places. They seem to have crawled out from under your sleeve, your arm kind of slowly turning purple, breaking through some of your buckles, though enough that the buckles themselves have come undone but not quite burst, keeping it again quite quiet.
Does this expend a key point?
It does expend a key point, yes.
How could you?
You gave me a sentient creature living within you, so I'm going to abuse it.
Don't abuse the creature that lives inside of him.
Well, it's going to abuse him, so, you know.
There's 2 wolves inside you and they're in love.
No, there are 2 wolves inside of you. One of them is low scale, the other one is high scale. Pendulum Shokan.
Oh, that was a night. As Eidolon, you watch as the tendrils start to crawl out, almost moving like a shadow. Again, why you didn't really see them to begin with, but the sensation drew your eye to them, as they seem to be more reaching out towards Ranaagash's shadow.
Ranaagash, move. As I quickly wind up the windshield.
Get stuck halfway. You're like trying to fix it.
As I'd more gesture for you to do the same.
You're struggling. It knows you're afraid.
And then
what are you? I would start talking in my brain this time instead of out loud. After I've gestured Ranaagash to do that. What are you doing?
Nothing.
Lying gets you nowhere.
Nothing. Show me what's in your hand.
What are you eating?
What's happening? What are you eating? Nothing.
Nothing.
Spit it.
Or in the case of it's a dog, the dog just starts running away. Top speed.
I'm good.
I did respond to you.
I know, I didn't hear because Paul made me laugh. Hence, I'm good.
Lying gets you nowhere. I can see it.
Well, I'm not doing anything. So I'm not lying.
And then in that case, what are you intent upon doing?
Nothing at the moment.
Then get away from him.
Why?
Because what you're doing yields no purpose.
To you, perhaps.
As I might not have much control of them, but I would literally, it's almost like holding a leash or something, yank the arm back to pull them back, as again, they are connected to my arm.
When he does that, you can see obviously Eidolon pulls his arm back and kind of flexes, raising it from the seat. You watch as these tendrils that were essentially shadows against the floor suddenly become very corporeal, very physical, and are perhaps only 6 inches away from you as they almost lash out and obviously retract back closer towards his arm.
Yikes.
As more, they're stuck here for 10 minutes now, so I just have to deal with that. I guess I'll use this as a time to ask it something I was going to ask it anyway, as essentially just like almost like keeping a dog on a leash. I need to keep it around near my arm.
Mm-hmm.
So more just with my other arm gesturing for Ran to keep in the other corner of the carriage.
Yeah, I'll scoot away.
Why didn't you do it in Westcross? You seem so intent on searching for what we're looking for, yet you were so insistent upon not. If you lack a purpose beyond what you're looking for, only you seem to lose.
I did not appreciate the tone you took with me.
And why might that be?
You forget I am the one who gave you life.
And it seems you're also forgetting that I chose to take you up on that and gave you life at the same time. You might consider us insects, you might consider me an insect as well, but you have to realize that without me you can't do anything you want to do. I did not take your offer in a sense of servitude, and neither do I expect you to do the same. I told you I commanded you to do something as to do what we needed you to do. I need a drink. Give me that.
I'm not saying this.
No, I just needed a drink. I felt my tongue getting dry. As to do what we needed to do, it needed to be done.
Well, it wasn't.
And who lost from that?
Both of us.
I wouldn't say so.
Neither would I anymore.
And why might that be?
Perhaps we don't need corpses to find them.
Then you know you can always ask.
Would he?
Perhaps, but I'm not going to force him to do it.
Why not?
I have no reason to. I have patience even if you do not.
Yet I thought this was something we wanted done with quickly.
It is, but I'm not willing to put anyone else who doesn't need to be put at risk.
You're putting them at risk anyway, why not get something out of it?
And he would say this out loud, more just losing himself for a second. They have chosen to put themselves at risk at this point. What they need done is as important to them as what I need to do is important to me. I will not besmirch their quests for my own.
Then perhaps you can merely help one another.
Listen, you don't like me. I don't like you. That's obvious enough. But if we're going to get anywhere, we need to work together. And that means you not treating me like I'm some pest that you're stuck to.
You are some pest that I'm stuck to.
I'm a pest who could easily off myself. And then where would you be?
Fine.
As Adlon would compose himself, Ran, you heard all of that last part.
Okay.
I will leave him be. For now.
Then I'll make you a deal also. You leave him be, I'll ask him to do it himself.
That's not a deal, because if he refuses, he's not going to do anything, and you're not going to make him.
Exactly. I said I'll ask him.
Then make sure you're persuasive.
I'll just make sure he knows that he's getting something out of it too. As I'd more relaxed to just sort of, I presume, just let the tendrils be kind of weird and wavy in the air.
They are less violent, they're not as encroaching. They do seem to, I guess, calm down. Though they do feel, I guess, something you've never really experienced with them before, because you have had quite a lot of control over them in the past. They feel quite, I guess, painful.
Well, it's obviously not very happy with me, because I just told it no.
Yeah. But I guess it's quite a new sensation for Eidolon.
As unless Rand says anything, I'll be sitting there for 10 minutes until they just vanish.
I'll probably just let them vanish, because, like, I don't know. You don't want me to get near them, and I'll oblige with that.
Not verbally, not physically.
Let's put it like that.
As in the carriage, may I be permitted a short rest?
Want to restore your key point?
Maybe.
And technically you would have a short rest, but obviously you'd be the only one that benefits from it because no one else has used their features.
Know this.
Pod racing.
Alright. That's me though. I don't have much else to say.
As when the tentacles dispel, would Ran then say anything now that the threat is gone?
I suppose it's gonna be like, what did it want me or know with me?
You know what I'm searching for.
Yes.
It tried to peer into your mind and knows you're prophetic.
Right. Wants answers?
Yes, but it would have gotten the answers, you would have just been a corpse afterwards. Either that or brain dead.
I suppose I appreciate you not letting that happen.
It would be inconvenient if any of the two of you keeled over like the last one.
Yeah.
Though it did bring up at least a fair point. If you can, I know you can partially force visions. Trying to peer into where he is now might not be the worst idea. On its front, it gets off my back and tries not to kill you anymore. On our front, it at least shows us whether Kinreen's going to be safe.
Oh, does that make sense? If I start bleeding again, please make sure I don't die.
I'm not saying do it now, especially if we know what we know is going to happen today.
Do we want to wait for that then?
I don't want you comatose if it does happen.
That's fair. Alright. Just give me a word and I'll see what I can do.
Might be best till we're actually in Kinreen. You got a safe place for us there?
Certainly a safe place for me.
Might have to do.
Alright.
That's me though.
As I guess getting into the afternoon, you guys have to stop. You obviously have to tend to the horses. It's not fair on them to ride for, I guess, a full day. So you stop for lunch, not too far from the southern glades.
Or something.
You don't really have cafes, at least not on the road. You do have a small fire going, enough that you can get some food. The horses are allowed to be out of their tack. They go and graze for a little while. You are surrounded by some trees, I guess. Like, you are starting to break into just the southern tip of Myrr. These are a lot of the smaller oaks, a lot more familiar scents and sights to Ranaagash. But as you all do so, I need you to make me perception checks.
27. 27.
You're +9. Through the mountains.
I was listening to that today whilst I was editing because Craig got it in my head, so I had Secret Tunnel on in the background.
I prefer the rock metal cover.
Do I have
Only
my
me and
rules?
Paul have made perception
I was going to
checks.
say, do I have my rules for you and Matthew? I have Matthew.
I wasn't sure who you was, so I was kinda...
It's the four of you.
Yeah.
You
We're
are,
a collective. We're a
you
hive
are
mind.
the collective of female sheep. So, Eidolon, surprise, surprise. You and your feckin' eyes.
Is it just me?
Yeah. Azamir also rolled a 6, so matching that with Paul. And the lowest stealth I rolled was a 14. So from that I need wisdom, I think it is.
Uh-oh.
I think it's wisdom. I will double check. I skipped the page. It is a wisdom. I was right. I'm always happy when I'm right. Paul, I need a wisdom save from you.
Oh,
I have a question. Wait, where are you riding? How far away are you from me?
They're not riding. At this point in time, you're in a camp, so he will have the bonus to it, which is a 10. Yes? No? Maybe?
What's your bonus to
Plus
charisma?
4.
Plus 9? Plus 4?
+4.
It's
So
a
it's
9.
a 9. As you would be in proximity of Ewan's aura.
Of
So is
protection.
that a 14 and not a 5?
No, that's a 9, which is a fail.
Cool.
Craig, just because of stupid past perception, can you give me another perception check?
Oh. That's a 22.
Fuck my life, man. I'm regretting saying that this was okay.
Eyes.
As Rodrik, you're now paralysed.
Swell.
Eidolon, you watch as a very similar effect seems to take a hold of Azamir, though I guess what catches you in your sight is he resists it, but doesn't.
So he just acts like it, I guess.
For yourself, Ranaagash, a strange sense of deja vu, I guess, as seemingly from nowhere, you have a knife to your side and another one to your throat. A very familiar half-orc standing behind you. You're doing this dance again.
I would like to say something, of course, after you're done the description.
For yourself, Eidolon, you kind of saw them coming. They kind of split across the plains and came quite quick. You can even see the bard not too far from the camp, obviously controlling Rodrik and presumably Azamir, though he has obviously not seen that Azamir is broken from his spell. Kaylee is not too far from you, this tiefling. She has a arrow notched in her bow and aimed at you, but the string is only half drawn. It's not a full draw. As the last one to come into the camp is Nilsine, this very, very large elven character with these very, very hefty spears that now all seem to be radiating with very, very black mist. They didn't do that before.
Right.
So do I have a chance to say something just before Ewan starts? Sorry, Ewan.
You do, yes, Greg.
So it would just be deep sigh first. 2 things. You point at the half-orc who's got Ranaagash. Off. He's not going to do anything. Get away from him.
He kind of looks at Kaylee. She gives him a slow nod, though she still has some hesitation in it. You can kind of even see it in her a little bit. And he lets go of Ran, though doesn't move away from him too much.
Secondly, and I'd point up the carriage, you look stupid faking that. We're not doing anything. Yeah, I called him out on it.
Azamir doesn't respond. He more kind of just watches, I guess.
Well, yeah, he's trying to be a faker and doing horribly at it.
Well, you're the only one who saw him.
To me, he's doing horribly.
I'm gonna use my bonus action to use my channeled divinity emissary of peace. You know, still getting used to everything, so then clutching my holy symbol, I'm like, alright, please. I know you have problems with me, but do not take it out on the rest of them. Call them off, okay? Please.
They are merely here for assurance. We're not going to hurt them. It's not them we want.
I know you won't. Like, I'm sorry for what I did. I understand I was forced into a corner. I'm very sorry. I know it means absolutely nothing to you, but I don't want this kind of action to be my legacy. So I'm trying to put this all behind me. I'm very sorry.
You were backed into a corner.
He killed me, or he almost killed me.
You were going to kill us.
We were going to take the things that you stole back. If you had handed them over, we would have left you alone.
The elven woman kind of takes a few steps forward. You can see her kind of take one of the spears from her back, almost twirl it in her hands, as much as you have in terms of the finesse with your axe. Were you going to kill us?
No.
Then why did you?
Because he struck me down first.
Because you were weak.
Look, I know you've got a problem with me, but this doesn't have to end in violence. You just turn around and walk the other way.
You could have turned around and walked the other way too.
We would have if you'd given the stuff you'd stolen back.
It was
I don't want
ours.
to do it. Thievery is not an honest work. I don't want to do anything that I don't have to do.
She kind of looks, I guess, between a few of her companions. They seem to, I guess, be a little bit more hesitant to some degree. They're a bit more uncomfortable with the entire situation. Even for yourself, Rodrik, you can feel the strength of the paralysis failing on you, as obviously whoever is casting it their concentration is wavering. As you can have some movement, moving from paralysis to perhaps being more restrained. However, the elf seems very unfazed.
When I was paralyzed, did I fall?
No, you were just
When
stuck.
I was paralyzed, fell over. Just stuck. Okay.
You were just stuck in
Guess
place.
I'm trying to move my arms somewhat. Maybe try and reach for my warhammer.
The only one who seems unfazed by your pleas to some degree is this elven character, or at least to your thoughts.
I understand that you want revenge, but all this will do is create a cycle. Because I have people out there, people who are looking for me, and no doubted, if you kill me, my friends may pass on to people who are looking for me that you were the ones who struck me down, and then people will come to seek you and strike you down, and then those who were close to you will strike them down, and it will create a cycle of revenge. And that's not something I want. Please just go.
Your friend has already said he's not getting involved.
I don't want them to get involved.
Then if they go
I don't
away and
want-
tell, they're getting involved. So why should we let them
don't
live?
I don't want... Because this is between us. This is between us. They will not involve themselves. I'm asking you kindly, please go away.
We asked you kindly to go away.
But you were stealing from a merchant. You're not stupid people. You could make a living other ways. You could become mercenaries. You don't have to rob people to make a living.
It is profitable and no one got hurt until you four came along.
Nobody got hurt this time, but what about in the future? What about there's a merchant traveling with his family, and one of them fights back, would you kill the merchant?
Yes.
Then that shows the difference between you and I.
To that statement, I would make eye contact with the tiefling, as clearly that didn't seem to be the prerogative she was giving off.
You can
I don't know what kind of gesture I get in response.
You kind of see that she is, I guess, a little bit more concerned. She is perhaps a little bit more worried. You can see that she is trying to think of something, perhaps trying to process something in her own thought. Not really getting there. This wasn't part of their agreement.
It's more that last statement of, if they came across someone innocent, that they would just kill them immediately. I don't know, does she seem unhappy about that?
Quite.
Ewan, do continue.
So do not do anything, do not make any rash actions. Any decisions that you will come to regret.
The only decision I regret is not finding you sooner.
That appears to be the case, however, and you are very clearly threatening me. But I don't want this to progress to violence. That's not what I want from this. If you just turn around and go away, nothing will come of this.
There's still a debt to be paid.
A perceived debt, yes.
Not a perceived debt, there is a debt. You killed our friend.
Because he was going to kill me.
As much as I don't agree with him, he should have killed you. He wouldn't have.
Yeah, but
That's
Ewan
why
didn't know that.
I did not know that he was willing to show such restraint, considering I was unconscious on the ground.
Then if you were willing to show us the same restraint, you wouldn't have killed him when you got back up.
I presumed that he was going with the intent to kill. I simply showed him the same courtesy that I assumed he showed me.
You kind of see as she stops pacing. The spear kind of stops twirling. She kind of holds it a bit more firmly, almost breaking several of the splinters. As it kind of cracks, she turns. Then I guess you're no different than me.
One thing before you do whatever you're gonna do. I look her directly in the eyes, cast command, and say, run.
Is that a wisdom save?
It's a
Wisdom save. To be fair, Ewan, this doesn't seem like the same type of person as the rest of these bandits.
Yeah.
She seems a lot less moral.
Non-nat
save.
20.
Okay, she succeeds.
Nice trick. Kneel. As she casts command.
I feel like these are two paladins. Remember, Ewan, you get your own special bonus.
You're fucking degenerate, is what she means.
I mean, yeah, at this point,
Yeah.
I feel like she deserves death.
Fuck.
Is that including your charisma? Yeah, it is. Wait, doesn't being a paladin give you proficiency in wisdom saves?
Yes, it does. This is... I just have a neutral modifier.
Oh, shit.
However, you also
Very
pass.
Let's
Yo!
go!
As her save is 13.
Yo!
It appears we are
Still after
evenly
that one.
matched then.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Schwart joke.
Spaceballs? No? Alright.
As she kind of, I guess, more readies herself, seeing that itself hasn't worked. The tiefling kind of, I guess, not unnotches the arrow, but lets the string kind of fall as it kind of sits there, holding it with two fingers. And Nalcine, this isn't what we're here for. He's sorry. Isn't that enough? As the half-orc and the human man kind of step forward, Rodrik, at this point you are completely out of your paralysis, as quite a spindly man, kind of very flouncy clothing, lots of baubles, kind of takes a few steps forward, kind of nods to the tiefling. Yeah, like, we didn't come to kill anyone. Well, not exactly, but we agreed, as he kind of gestures to himself, the half-orc and Kaylee, that we would only come along with you if it was a last resort. Maybe it was an accident. As the elf starts to pace again, though this time you can see that it's a little bit more heavy-footed. Her foot seems to sink quite deep into the earth, and every footstep she leaves, these black wisps seem to follow her, as her spear seems to start radiating more and more of this necrotic magic. As she kind of stops dead, points her spear towards Wulfric. Whether he's sorry or not, it doesn't matter. Frederick is dead and it was his fault. He assumes such things because of who we are. A man can't change that much. He doesn't deserve to live.
I don't live for myself. I live for those who I've wronged, and those who the sins I've to atone for, and the people that I have to get home to. So quite frankly, whatever you think I'm guilty of, I am sorry, but I will not let you kill me.
Then you'll have to fight pretty hard.
Yeah, forgive me.
Roll me some initiative,
yeah.
Ewan.
No, you and I legit think you tried as hard as you could there.
I'm clawing tooth and nail to not.
I think this comes down to your last tenant, which is essentially just kill when you deem it is completely necessary, and I think you reached that point at the end there.
Put it this way, Ewan. If you hadn't done well, you would be fighting 3 more people.
Yeah.
You're only fighting the one.
Because it's his he is trying desperately to uphold this.
Do you want this to be your fight, Ewan, and we'll stay out of it?
Yeah, it's a 1v1, it's only honourable.
If at any point the 3 of you do want to get involved though, just let me know and essentially you'll be bumped to the bottom of initiative. As Rodrik, I guess this is the first time you'll be fully privy to this coming out of paralysis with Wulfric, I guess one-on-oneing this elven woman with her 3 supposed companions trying to talk her down and almost turning their back on her. And then obviously Eidolon and Ranaagash and Azamir obviously not getting involved at all.
Not knowing Wulfric but like still kind of like judging the situation, it seems like this is their kind of thing right now. So I'd have my hammer at my side, but I wouldn't be like, sort of attacking stance. I'm just kind of like, okay, let's watch, see what happens.
I mean, your job is protecting Azamir. You're getting paid by Azamir, not Wulfric.
Exactly.
I think is a good way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way of phrasing it.
Wulfric, you are going first.
I'm going to cast Shield of Faith on myself, and then I'm going to take the dodge action.
Best start you could do.
So she will attack you very much in blind rage. I guess it's more, for those onlooking, it's kind of almost a battle of opposites. You can watch as Wulfric's axe, this very, very godlike weapon, a very, very beautiful weapon, none like you've ever seen before, Rodrik. It seems to kind of shimmer and shine, and Wulfric seems to just almost take a breath and stay patient as he readies himself, not in an offensive way, but in very much a defensive way, as he seems to almost irradiate a holy light. Nilsine, on the other hand, seems to, I guess, more radiate this necrotic energy as it travels down her spear and into her own body, seemingly giving her almost inhuman speed and strength. However, it seems that at least one side is fighting for the right reasons, as neither of her attacks hit you, Wulfric. Highest she rolled was a 14. I'm pretty sure your AC is higher than that.
Yeah, with the Shield of Faith, my AC is a 20.
Yep. It is your go.
You would say that like Wulfric's getting used to his magic, right? So I can cast more spells. I don't want to just continuously be casting spells.
Yeah, it's kind of like I feel like with Wulfric, a lot of it is more like it's his will to want to do something that helps him cast, and then it's kind of like the realization of that is being translated into magic. Like, if he wants to help someone, if he wants, like, I imagine him casting Shield of Faith will have essentially been like him being like, I don't want to fight, I want this to end, and it empowered him to essentially be harder to hit.
Wulfric will like clutch his axe and be like, I'm gonna give you another chance. You just put down the spear and this will all be over, and I'm gonna cast Sanctuary on myself.
All of the defensing spells.
Which basically means that she has to make a wisdom save if she even tries to hit me.
Yeah. Which will be a lot of wisdom saves. So, what's your actual spell save DC?
15.
Cool. So one of them she passes, so she'll get 1 attack.
She still has to hit, which is nice.
She will hit with it.
Mhm.
So I need to have a look at damage. I don't think I've got enough dice for this. 1, 2. No, I do. 3. It's when everyone uses the same dice and you're like... Okay, 3, 6. Plus... 4. So you'll take 10, 24 damage. 14 of which is radiant.
Okay. Back to my turn. I'm going to use 14 points of my lay on hands to heal myself.
At this point when you're seeing it, Craig, you can see that Kaylee...
Hello?
Hi.
I didn't expect that.
You can see that Kaylee is taking a few more steps forward. You can also see that she is drawing the string on her bow.
Aiming at?
You don't know.
I'm gonna step forward, not drawing weapons yet, though I do have my fists, but not drawing weapons, taking a few steps forward so I'm about as close to them as she is. I'm, of course, can't hold, like, it would be hold action for the end of initiative, quote unquote, but if she shoots Wulfric, I'm moving in.
Yeah.
But if she shoots Nilsine, I'm staying back, because that's between them.
Because I need to make 3 more saves. 2 of those will pass. One of those will hit. 2, 3. 4, 8, 16, 19, 24. 48 damage.
48.
Crit hit.
Crit hit 6. I used...
As you lay on hand, she seems to almost dance around you and stab you in the side.
I'm going to use 21 points to heal, so I'm on 27 hit points.
Do you have a bonus action?
No, I do not.
Second wind feels like a distant memory.
Second one, distant memory.
Such a distant memory.
Wulfric not interested in a fight.
Honestly, it doesn't matter too much, but Eidolon's very impressed with you right now, Wulfric. Doesn't matter too much, I just want to make that statement.
Yeah. Oh shit, I have to... Give me a second, I've got to... Make
Concentration on Sanctuary.
Check. No, on Shield of Faith.
Oh shit, yeah.
Oh,
You do
so
Wisdom, isn't it, Em? Or will you do Con for this?
I tend to roll Wisdom for concentration because I don't see how your physical fortitude impacts your mental
I mean,
capabilities.
either way.
Nah, yeah, so my AC is back to 18. But Sanctuary is not concentration.
Hey, you've got your bonus action freed up, Ewan. You could Shield of Faith.
I will Shield of Faith again. I will use all of my I've got all my first level slots gone. But
Worth
fuck
it.
it. I don't want to fight. I do not want to fight.
2, 3.
If Wulfric dies, he's upheld his oath. He's upholding his oath.
I need this for disadvantage.
Doesn't look like the rest of their team is very happy about that, though.
Can't let
She's still
a
fighting.
second party member die.
Not on Paul's watch.
Not on my watch.
8.
I've got basic
You're our
bandage and
only
stuff.
healer, so if you died, you know.
I have a feeling I should just take proficiency in medicine at this rate.
4. 27. Sorry, I need to do math. It'd be...
Really hope you're not getting hit by this, Ewan.
No, if he was, he'd be in a rough place. As you'd probably be quite thankful that you took her down as quickly as you did in the original combat, Craig. As Kaylee does knock an arrow, she pulls it. She doesn't aim for Wulfric, though I guess you kind of almost instinctively react to almost try and stop her, as she looks like she is aiming for Wulfric. Though Wulfric, you'll feel it as your Shield of Faith drops, as she lets loose 2 arrows. Both of them, you can feel the feathers brush against your cheek, as one hits the shoulder of Nilsine, knocking her back, and the other hits her arm, making her obviously drop her spear, as she more falls to a knee, taking the prone condition, as Nilsine takes 72 damage.
72?!
As Kaylee takes a few steps forward, going, "He doesn't want to fight, so stop it." And if he's not going to kill you, I will.
That's where we'll slowly back out of the encounter.
Can I move slowly forward and try something?
Yeah.
Actually, no. I'll give it a moment. I'll see how this conversation goes. Essentially, what I'm planning to do is, if it doesn't appear to be going anywhere between the two of them, I would want to step forward, unarmed strike the back of her head to try and stunning strike her. But that's, of course, if this conversation doesn't go anywhere.
Nilsine obviously attempts to stand up. She can do so. However, when she goes to pick up her weapon, you can see that where Kaylee is hit with her arrows, she pretty much has no mobility in her arm at this point. The shoulder, likely a cracked shoulder blade. However, the one that hit her arm is most likely just completely cut clean through, so severed any connection there is there. She can essentially move this part of her arm, the rest just hangs and dangles. You can even hear bones cracking as she does so. As she looks over at the tiefling, he deserves it. We talked about this. As Kaylee takes another step forward, Eidolon, you can see her physically getting angry at this point, as well as Ranaagash and Rodrik. Yes, but we didn't agree to this. He's not fighting you. He's not done one hit. Not even to defend himself. This is not what we agreed. And this is not something I'm going to be a part of. If you kill him like this, you're doing no better than what he did to Frederick. At least Frederick fought back. As Nilsine again attempts to stand, Moore takes a weapon in a less dominant hand, very much her less dominant hand. Then I'll kill you as well.
I will not allow you to harm her.
Then maybe I can get some fight in you then.
Wisdom saving throw, please.
Nat 1.
She's held. I was casting hold person.
As Wulfric, you are almost, like, I guess, seething at this point. You can feel your oath. You can feel that spark start to change, and you don't want her to move, and all of a sudden you can see her seize up, as almost your anger just seems to paralyze her.
I was gonna flavor it as Wulfric puts the axe in his non-dominant hand and like instinctively reaches out, and a golden hand takes a similar shape and grabs her.
I like it.
Yes.
You will do no more harm. I have done enough, but I repent for what I have done. You dare threaten to kill a friend? Unforgivable. I did what I did because it was combat, it was war, but at least I feel bad for it. You with no remorse will threaten your own friends. How can you do such a thing? Please it doesn't have to end like this.
3.
Do I get to make a funny persuasion roll at some point?
You would, if, as you're having this conversation with her. Eidolon, you see it, you obviously attempt to go and get it. Kaylee is just that little bit faster than you. Wulfric, you're obviously back at his turn to this, however you do see the aftermath, as you're holding Nilsine in place, a arrow goes through her forehead. You are still holding her in place, but you can feel that she is no longer alive.
Shot by.
Kaylee.
That's fine then. That's their business.
However, Craig, Ranaagash, and Rodrik, you'll be able to see that this tiefling is trembling. Like, she has the bow still in hand, she is still in the stance to shoot, but the wood on her bow is physically rattling.
I will drop concentration on hold person, and I will sheath my axe and I will walk over to her.
Whilst he's walking, just for statement what I'm doing, since I know the half-orc and the human bard are still seeming like somewhat close to us, considering how the half-orc was close to Ranaagash.
Yeah, the half-orc is very much like dumbfounded. The human is like, I guess, more worried. He's not even looking at the body of Nilsine. His entire attention is fixated on Kaylee.
I would just look at the two of them and just point over there, especially where Wulfric's walking. Are you waiting for something?
How old are you?
15.
And you've been forced into a life like this.
I chose it.
Well, you've made a choice. Well, you can make a choice right now. I am offering you a choice. We are traveling to a place called Thornsguard. There is a florist there, run by a woman called Sophia. I will see to it that you are given gainful employment and you won't have to steal again. You can hunt with your bow if you want, but you can leave this life behind. Your legacy does not have to be bloodshed.
She kind of looks over at the other two, looks up at you. You can see that she is crying, though it almost seems to burn her skin a little. I thank you, but I'm not going back.
Life has been hard. I take it.
Not hard, just unfair.
It doesn't have to be anymore. We can help you. You're young enough to deserve a full new start. As long as you don't mind occasionally cutting your hand on a rose or two, I'm sure she'd be happy to have you.
She's very much trembling, though I guess loops the string from the bottom of her bow and sets it back into its sheath on her back. I think we'll be okay.
Are you sure?
She looks over at the half-orc and at the human man, though very much smiles more towards the human man than the half-orc. Gives him more of a side smile. I think we will be.
I believe that we should bury her before we part ways.
It would be better to burn her.
Is that what she would prefer?
No, but it's better for the wildlife.
I suppose it is. I'll gather some kindling and the cloth, and I'll go off and get some wood, get a tart from the back, lay her on the kindling, lay the tart over her, I will remove the arrow. I will go up to the other two. Are you hurt at all?
No, we're fine.
Do you need anything? Anything that I can help you with? Even if it's just directions.
I guess the more human of the two kind of laughs. Coin if you've got any. Or is this not the time?
Oh, that's fine. 1, 2. I hand him 6 gold.
He kind of looks very much surprised, kind of exchanges glasses with a half-orc and kind of leans over and whispers and goes, I genuinely didn't think that would work. I mean, it's never worked before.
As long as you're not stealing anymore, I've got no problem handing over a couple of coins.
He kind of laughs, hands you back the purse. I'm sorry, we can't make that promise. We've been doing it for too long.
I could help you find somewhere. You don't have to steal anymore.
Yeah, but...
Can I approach Wulfric from the back? As I'd more just stand next to him, put a hand on his shoulder for a second.
Fucking Jesus.
They're not doing it because they have to. As hard as it is to believe, they're probably doing it because they want to.
I suppose.
Unless you're doing anything else, Wulfric, I'd like to approach the tiefling.
I'll take out a little bit of parchment, scroll the symbol of the Northern Iron Dragons on it, close it up and hand it to the human, and it's like, if you ever change your mind, they'll be happy to take you.
He kind of gives you a smile and a nod. Puts it amongst various other pieces of parchment effects that seem to be littering his person. As Kaylee kind of sits watching as obviously the kind of, I guess, pyre is constructed. I imagine Rodrik probably would have lent a hand, giving Wulfric a hand, being the other muscle man in the party. And she's kind of just sitting watching it be built, watching it be constructed.
As I'd more go standing, not sitting next to her. I trust this is the end of it then.
I didn't want it to be.
And he didn't either, but at the very least we can say it was none of our faults.
He really is sorry, isn't he?
Maybe after it happened, he might not have been. Can't say that for certain. But when we were in Westcross, he went through a lot in a very short period of time and forced him to reflect on a lot. When he said he was sorry, when he did everything there, he meant every word he said.
Then I don't feel as bad.
I know it won't help at all. You'll already have a lot going on in your head after this, but you did what you had to do, and what you had to do was the right thing. Just like what he had to do was the right thing too. He gave her a chance.
I've never missed before.
Eidolon just gives a slow nod. More leave her to her contemplation in case she says anything else.
She wouldn't. She would just kind of, I guess, watch the fire as it starts to climb.
Will you head back to the campsite you had before, or will you move on?
We'll probably move on. We never stay in one place for too long.
I know you three aren't likely to give up stealing. It seems to be your livelihoods. Just be more careful about it. I can't promise you, and none of us can promise you either, that you're not going to come across another caravan. And I can't promise you that if you kill them, they won't hire others like us. And I can't promise you that they'll be as nice. The three of you won't end up dead.
You can see her brow kind of furrow a little bit. But I killed everyone at that caravan.
Would it be possible if I could walk over at this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. Oh. Fuck.
We've all made mistakes, but now we have to atone for them. I know you said that thieving's what you do, but maybe this would be the moment to reconsider. And I'm trying to persuade her away. Could I make a persuasion check?
You can do.
Would I still have my channel divinity?
Mm-hmm. At this point, yes. How long does it last for? Is it not like
It's
a
like
minute?
They're 10 minutes,
10 minutes?
or an
Yeah,
hour.
so it's still up.
They're 10 minutes or an hour. I'll give a check, see.
If it's an hour, it'll still be up. If it's 10 minutes, it likely won't be.
If I can get the last dregs of it, that's a 25.
I mean, it's a 20 or a 25, so either way.
Yeah,
It's
either.
10 minutes.
Cool. So even a 20. She kind of smiles. I never did steal. That was... She gestures to, I guess, the two boys who are standing watching the pyre burn. I get rid of the collateral. They're
Also,
not
Wulfric.
very good with their aim.
You're a crack shot. Maybe the Iron Dragons up north could use a marksman half as good as you.
So I was going to ask you about you, and I was going to ask why you offered her a florist job but the guy in Iron Dragon's job when she seems more competent at doing it.
He will take out the insignia. No, it was just because she's a child. She told him she told him she was 15. Just a giant.
The shit she's had to go through, I don't think she's really got the mindset of a kid anymore.
He writes down the symbol of the Iron Dragon and he writes down the name Lambert Cragbrand. He hands it to her. Tell him Wulfric sent you. I'm sure he could help you out.
You'll know what it means.
Well, maybe we'll travel north.
Yeah. Maybe we will. Maybe our paths will cross again, but this time it will be more fortunate. I reckon if you walk the right path, you've got a bright future. And he kind of ruffles her hair.
You can feel her get slightly, I guess, more toasty as you do that.
She is still an independent person.
As she kind of, I guess, more furrows her brow and kind of pulls away more from your hand. I'm not a child.
Sorry, force of habit. You remind me of someone.
And she kind of fixes her hair on her fringe. Kind of gives, I guess, the two of you a nod. I'm gonna get them on the road.
Alright.
One last thing.
Yes.
Wulfric, do you see Azamir among the people there? As I cast my eyes along.
Like the group over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kaylee, was he dead?
I don't remember him.
Because when we arrived at the caravan wreck that you say you killed everyone at, he was alive with an arrow through his leg. That's how we knew that you'd attacked that caravan.
The only shots I missed in that raid was the horses, and that was only because Tony distracted me. Everyone else died cleanly, as always.
As I turned to Wulfric.
Maybe needing to have some words. But if you'll excuse me, Wulfric will go over and say a little prayer by the pyre.
I just give the tiefling a nod before heading back to the group.
I'm sorry that it had to come to this. I'm sorry that you hate me. I'm sorry that you're dead. I wish it hadn't have come to this. I can say I wish all I want. But I suppose the life you never got to lead is another burden I will carry as part of my oath. I don't know what was going on with you, but I hope you rest well wherever you have gone. And you'll get up and you'll walk back to the group.
As I guess the four of you are left, Rodrik obviously witnessing all of these incidents with the three of them, so the half-orc, the human and the tiefling, kind of bidding you all, I guess, a more sorrowful farewell before they hit the road. Though it's not too long before they themselves seem to divert off the road and head more into Myrr itself.
If we find them again, we will have to arrest them, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. But if they are still thieves.
Listen, you're a good speaker, Wulfric. I don't think that's going to turn them that quickly. Maybe give it a year.
Oh no, I think I'm getting pretty good at it.
we find some wanted posters, I'm holding that over you.
Even if we didn't, you'd hold it over me.
Eidolon shrugs before sort of side-eyeing Azamir whilst he's still looking at you. Or just should we do it now?
It's been a long day, I reckon, and I'm a bit tapped on resources in case things get dicey.
He'd give you a nod.
He absolutely would have killed me, given the chance. And I'm not sure I blame her.
You shouldn't blame her for trying to do that. You should simply keep walking the path you're on.
Vengeance against your fellow man is a temporary solution for the pain that exists. We should we should go to bed. I'm very tired.
Eidolon doesn't react much to that and more just turns around to start setting himself up.
But some people are unforgivable. But I do see a spark of good in most.
Interesting perspective.
It's one that I'm adjusting to. People aren't led by their instincts usually. They can be reasoned with to a degree. But it can also be the scariest monster to deal with of all.
Selfish, deep-rooted desire usually is what leads to that.
Rage, bitterness, resentment, revenge. We have all these negative emotions, but there is much beauty left in the world. There is far more to observe of the flower that blooms after the conflict than the blood that soaked the dirt before.
Did you spend more time in the scriptorium than the rest of us?
No, I'm just... You know, she likes poetry, I like poetry. It's a mutual hobby. I'm just not very good at writing.
Then maybe write some, so we can hear it in the morning, lover boy.
Don't call me boy, I'm older than you.
I'll call you what I want. And he'd sort of just throw a hand up over his shoulder.
Kids. As he settles down to bed.
Oh yeah, I'm married and had a full-time job.
You're still a kid to him.
All by the time you were 17. Well, actually 8, but you were married at what, 18?
I had a full-time job at 8 and got married when I was 17, 18.
Yeah.
On that time. I didn't get a choice for the full-time job, but I still did it.
Bedtime.
Bedtime.
As it is bedtime.
Unless Ranaagash and Rodrik are doing anything.
Ran and Rodrik.
I guess when we're all like, all the emotions have lowered and all that, Rodrik was just like, I was looking forward to swinging my hammer, but I will.
Will you not swing unless it is necessary?
Fight with a beast is inevitable.
Can abide by that.
Fight with a man can be prevented.
You said the line.
The record player keeps spinning.
That's a pretty good line, Wulfric. I might use that myself.
An old mentor.
Do you want me to credit you?
No. You should credit my mentor. Wilhelm Esser was his name. Smartest man I ever knew.
Was past tense.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty smart too. And I mean, I know Ranaagash now.
No, you said was his name. Am I to assume he's dead?
He was one of the men at the front line against that dragon, who I'm hoping to God is not dead.
I mean, it might be an invasion of privacy, but as I peer around to Ranaagash, could you potentially peer into this person?
I'm not going to force any of Ranaagash's visions. If he sees Wilhelm, I'll know.
I'm not either. It's more just...
The book could potentially help with that. It's just one person.
The book!
The book. Of course.
The fucking talking book.
Yeah.
I mean, you could write his name and then you get to see everything about him currently.
Yeah.
It is a mystery. If you want to, I'm not going to stop you.
Do you want to?
I think I'd rather find out on my own.
Alright. I can respect that.
We've much to talk of and much to do in the morning. So let's get some rest.
I'm keeping it...
Another game of cards.
Anytime.
Start shuffling the deck and dealing.
I'm keeping a keen eye on Azamir, because he's been conspicuously silent for this entire thing. What has he been doing?
I guess at this point he's been more pottering around as the pyre was being lit and was being made. He kind of, I guess, more took a breath. I guess trying to avoid the whole thing more than anything else. Didn't really want to get involved. It seemed very much your business. I guess Rodrik's take on things is the four of you sit around the campfire. He kind of sits. He cooks your food and eats. Just listening, really.
I think that's us for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Of course, unless Azamir stays up. But apart from that, it's snoozy time.
Yeah. No, he will go back to bed. It seems that he seems to at least be avoidant on some things, and for other things he mostly just listens. As you go to bed for that night, and we bring an end to this day, we also bring an end to this session. The testing of Wulfric's morals.
And he did very well.
He did. Very proud of you.
He did very well. Exceedingly well.
This is you in 2.0.
And I liked his dialogue at the end there. That was nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eidolon wouldn't say much to that because
no,
he has very strong opinions about revenge at the moment.
Yeah, that's his entire plot line.
Yeah.
I was scared I couldn't do it, but I did it. I was able to roleplay. I'm able to roleplay an Oath of Redemption Paladin.
Just keep this up. Well. I think that was the hardest one. That's like the hardest test of it you'll ever have. So
the thing with that was, so Nelsine was a Oath of Vengeance Paladin.
Yeah.
So you weren't really going to be able to persuade her because she was very much on the warpath. But I guess the insight into Wulfric to see if he truly was sorry was for Vodrum, Tony, and Kaylee, because if you couldn't convince them that you were sorry, that could have been a bit more of a problematic combat.
Yeah.
70-ish damage.
Aren't you happy you took her out very quickly last time you fought them, Craig?
I knocked her off a tree, yes.
In one turn she did 72 damage. She did roll a crit, mind you. One of her collection of damage die were doubled, but yeah, 72 damage in one hit. But yeah, as today you learned a little bit more about Azamir.
Yeah.
I fucking knew it. I'm not insane.
You are a little insane. Every time I introduce a character, you're immediately like, this character is sus.
No, I'm not. Thank you very much.
Paul introduced Rodrik, and the first thing you were like is, this guy's only in it for the money. Insight.
Well, yeah, but then I didn't continue after that. I was just being cautious.
Or just paranoid.
Yeah, very paranoid at this point. Little bit of a story for Azamir. Little bit of a spook for Ranaagash, with his vision starting to bleed into the real world that nearly killed him.
3 HP.
It was 3 HP. It was a 7th level phantasmal killer. That could have killed him. Well, knocked him out, not killed him. As Wulfric's morals were put to the test, and I think he did a pretty good job. And hopefully they will continue as we move into next week. Though I don't think there's much moral in next week's session, from what I remember. Possibly.
You level up?
No. Nice try.
And you always ask that.
I always got tested in waters.
You don't ask, you don't get, I guess.
That's true, yeah. No.
Mm-hmm.
No level up. However, you do have a level up soon, so don't worry about that. Because your next level up is your next ASIs. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
18 wisdom!
But for now, it is goodbye from me. I hope you all enjoyed. And it is goodbye from my boys.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
We are now recording again. Thank the Lord. Technical difficulties are a pain in the arse. As, I guess, giving you guys a bit of context, since my video recorded but my audio didn't record. Joys of OBS. It is just me and Paul at the moment. The rest of the boys are a little less privy to this, as the last time they saw Marcusar, he was very much dead, and they are now on their way to Kinreen with, well, if you've watched last episode, you'll have seen Paul's temporary new character, Rodrik Armstrong, a berserker barbarian, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Who will be kicking around for a little while, but we very much have the intention of Marcusar to come back and, fingers crossed, stay alive this time.
Third time's the charm.
Well, I can't keep bringing him back. This is the last thread I have. And the only reason
Yeah.
I'm using it is because I didn't kill you last session.
Mhm.
But to give you guys a little bit of context, Paul and I are going to be recording this, and it'll get segmented and split up over perhaps the next kind of three episodes or so, kind of giving you guys a bit of context to why Marcusar is suddenly going to be reappearing in the campaign, especially after giving him a reincarnation for free.
Yeah, that was too nice of you.
This one I'm being a little less nice on, we'll put it that way. But I feel for a narrative perspective this could be something quite interesting if, well, I've done my bit, it's now if Paul can pull it off. Just to give him a little bit of pressure.
I do not have faith in myself.
I think you could do it. I genuinely think you could do this. I just think it will be difficult because you're an awful liar.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that you're going to struggle with, is the fact that you cannot lie.
Yeah, I'm a bad liar.
But for this, we are just going to be the two of us, doing a little bit of solo RP, and again, just giving you guys, I guess, a little bit of background story to why Paul is playing a new character and why Marcusar is suddenly going to reappear in a couple of weeks. Though I think it'll just be as confusing for Marcusar as it will be for the boys. As jumping into, I guess, where you're set as you wake up, your memory is a little bit fuzzy. The last thing you will have remembered will have been obviously being attacked by the beast, kind of being sliced in two, almost being severed by its claws, and then obviously falling in the caustic acid that had been spilled on the floor. You obviously won't know that the boys attempted to help you, that they attempted to revive you, and obviously that kind of went horribly wrong. But when you wake up, you will find yourself on a stone slab in quite a dark lit room. A few sconces are on the walls, but it's essentially a stone basement, and you are upon a stone slab, seemingly being prepared for being buried. Your clothes are not on you. You are essentially in plain white linens, so like very, very basic linens, smelling essentially like embalming fluid.
Oh.
Well, you were dead.
Yeah, that's fair.
They were very much preparing you for being dead, and then you weren't dead. So, you know. But that's kind of like, I guess, as your sight comes to, the first thing you kind of see is you're still obviously lying down on the bench, kind of almost staring at the ceiling, just smelling a very floral scent, but quite a bitter scent at the same time. And then obviously feeling the cold slab as you're no longer obviously bundled in your father's robes. You're very very thin linens.
I think my immediate reaction would be to like maybe sit up and look about the room, and then like try and, the last thing I remember would be like being attacked from behind, so like trying to like feel on my back or something.
Kind of jostling up, obviously, to get a better look of your surroundings as well as get a better sense of yourself. You can feel the gash marks. They are quite deep, about maybe an inch. You can feel obviously like the finger almost going into the gaps. They don't feel open, they don't feel like they're weeping, they feel like they've been almost cauterized. Though the creature itself was using acid to attack, so perhaps it almost cauterized it when it attacked you, rather than being an afterthought. But I guess as you actually kind of start feeling about your back, feeling about your wounds, and actually start looking around the room with this very kind of almost white hue from these sconces, you start to see something a bit more disturbing. As littering the room are corpses. Not bodies upon slabs, but actual corpses.
How are they dressed?
A few of them look like they're probably volunteers at the church. They kind of have those peasants, like just normal trews, boots, light white linens that were probably helping dress some of the deceased, perhaps even yourself. You can see a more elf-like woman. She's kind of wearing more brown or greenish robes. She kind of has perhaps blonde hair, you're not too sure given the kind of lighting that's there and the kind of state of her body. It's kind of very mangled. The one that you do kind of recognise is not too far from your own slab, however, as the drow priestess Eli that you spoke to upon first entering the halls of the faith, though she herself is also not in a very good deceased state.
Okay.
You can give me a perception check if you want.
Well, I would be looking. What am I in any? You say I'm wearing like white linens, right?
Yes.
I guess I'm looking for all my things, like my sickle and all my belongings, and I guess I'm just maybe trying to find like an exit of some kind.
Well, the exit is easy to see. You can kind of see a set of spiral staircases from an arch, just perhaps in the back right-hand corner. Though, give me an investigation to see if you can, or perception, whatever you're better at, to see if you can actually find your stuff.
Make a perception check.
17. Why can't the boys see these good rolls?
I know.
As you are able to locate your stuff, it seems that quite a lot of the effects of the deceased are kept upon quite a long table at the far end of the room. The only reason you can identify is your stuff is the moonsicle itself. It kind of has that white sheen to it that just seems to glow a little bit in the far end of the room. However, as you're kind of looking around, I guess obviously locating your stuff, perhaps gathering your bearings a little bit, you also see something else not too far from that corner. Kind of keeping away from a lot of the light of the sconces, though seeming to be more interested now that you have woken up. As appearing to still be cleaning his mace, is a figure standing in the corner, though it's unlike any you've seen before. As in the shadows, it is almost broken and carved, kind of like a contortion of different animalistic body parts that seem to be stitched together to quite a humanoid figure. It's right hand side still completely humanoid. Sorry, other way around. It's left hand side still completely humanoid. I need to get this the right way around or Craig will kill me.
Yeah.
It's left hand side still completely humanoid, but it's right hand side instead of being covered in caustic green veins and almost what looks like in the light matted fur, where the right leg seems to be a lot more even like feline or canine, those big claws at the bottom of it, and its arm seems to be very much the same, though at the elbow and the shoulder the bones almost seem to be broken to create almost protruding spikes that turn the arm itself into a weapon, though its claws are well, you were a dragonborn, you're used to big talons, big thick claws. These are almost spindly, these are incredibly thin, almost razor-like, like if these were to slice something it would just go straight through them with no resistance whatsoever. As a set of red eyes are watching you.
I think I would immediately grab the sickle and take a defensive stance.
Get up, grab sickle. Who are you?
Yeah.
It kind of
Not
sets.
Who are you? What are
what
you?
are you? It kind of sets the mace down, at least still holding it, but more keeping it down, letting the claw kind of, I guess, stretch and flex. And as it moves its way through the shadows towards you, its form seems to change. It loses a little bit of height. It stands as its hybrid form, perhaps even 10 feet tall. It loses maybe 3 foot and becomes a lot more humanoid. It loses that kind of vulpine arm, the kind of canine aesthetics. Keeps the red eyes though, as coming into the light, or what little light is in this room, is, I guess, a much more flesh and bone version of the projection you saw in the Lord's Cellar. This elven character, though he looks ever so slightly different from the projection, as when you first saw this projection you were very much assuming elf. Seeing him now, presumably him himself, he is more half-elf. He has rounded features, he has round-tipped ears, he's not as sharp as perhaps the projection looked. He has a bit softer, with kind of shaggy dark hair on top, but again still these very piercing red eyes, and as he steps a few paces forward he seems to shuffle through a few loose threads back into the mop and kind of smiles at you. But as he speaks, you notice that rather than a tongue almost bouncing between his lips ever so slightly, and every time he seems to hiss, a forked tongue instead protrudes from his lips.
Okay.
As he kind of grins, "I'm not a patient man, Marcusar. You took your time."
Who are you?
I thought perhaps at this point you would know me somewhat, though I can't blame that swine for not introducing me properly.
I'm raising the sickle higher. Who are you? What have you done to me?
My name is Geirdre Vafine. I have done nothing to you.